Hola! And welcome to this very special rendition of Ambyr D&D. This week we're joined by some guests on a bit of a one-shot. Well, I say one-shot. Knowing me, it'll probably be a 15-shot, but there we go. Whatever. A quick recap and thing of the events that have transpired. So, ages and ages ago, now about 4 or 5 levels ago, after leveling up, Gylndan had a dream. I don't really know how much of this dream he wants me to give away, per se. So I'll say this. He had a dream that pertained to some knowledge, and after this dream he was given certain powers of divination, like the ability to cast the spell divination once, well, just without expending a spell slot, once per day. Obviously, through the things of the spell. Anyway, once he'd done this, he decided to look into the dream, and while everyone was still in the capital, and the guys were fighting off against a couple of vampires, or at least like sort of trainee vampires, Gylndan was in the library, and in the great library of the capital.
Nerd!
And found some interesting information that sort of was to do with what he was after, especially pertaining to a certain arcane library that held ancient information and said could only be found by certain people. Dok, through his travels, has realised that, his friends depend quite greatly upon him, shall we say. And whether it be just through wanting more power, or whether it be, this sort of feels like he needs to do this to protect people, he has also been asking around for a tome called the Tome of Understanding, a tome that will grant him more power, essentially in D&D terms a +2 to wisdom. A legendary tome that also allows him to sort of open his mind and allow him to break forth from the realm of regular sort of wisdom. So you can usually go up to a max of 20. With this, you'll be able to go to a max of 24 instead. Awesome thing. And when in Inksworth, the two sort of talked about this with each other, saying, that this place is real, and there have been some plans to go out and find it. And they thought now is a better time than ever. Oramis and Mazzy can handle their thing. We can do our thing. Meet back up later on. Figure shit out. Take down Tiamat. But now is a better time than ever to go after this book. So after splitting up with Oramis and Mazzy on the road, after the events of the Underdark and in the capital, the two journey forth. What would you guys like to do? You're now travelling down the long, dusty roads, sort of around sort of here, for Abby and Chantel's sort of notice. They're sort of around here, heading. So these are the Hawksmoor Mountains. They're heading sort of in that direction. Sam knows that it is somewhere in the north of the Hawksmoor Mountains, and while travelling, you've seen this owl direct you in a certain way. However, I also know that you were particularly interested in the handing over of a certain dragonborn's body to his fellow folk.
Yeah.
Going to do that stuff. So
I think we'd open with that probably, Jojo, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that would be number 1 on the list.
Number 1 on the list. Right. So you head first towards this place, and to go towards this place, funnily enough, you need to pass from the sort of angle that you're going at. You need to pass Mazzy's farm anyway. So from there, you can also pick up Chikara.
Yes.
A bit of a long walk.
Oh, I've missed Chikara.
Day now. It's about midday when you get there, and upon arrival, the sort of the stable hand, the guy that you sort of had that you saw was looking after him before. Very shaggy head, young lad, maybe like 16 years old. Usually taking care of horses and things, but or like cattle, but now a freaking elephant. He's
Add that to his CV.
Yeah, he's definitely looks a little bit sort of run ragged around the farm recently.
That's his family there.
They are indeed, yes. His mother.
Could we
mother
just relay that he's okay?
Yeah. Of course, you can. As you head there anyway, she sort of steps out and goes, "Oh, thank the gods that you're all okay." Where is Mazzy? I hope you're not here with bad news.
He died, unfortunately. A brutal death. No, he's fine. Sorry, he's a hero. Actually, he is a hero.
Why would you play such a trick on?
I'm sorry. I've been in the Underdark for like a week. It's sapped all of my humour.
I've never heard of a place called the Underdark, but it personally doesn't sound.
Sam, your griffin is showing.
Oh.
I know. Sorry, let me get into character.
Well, yes. Well, Chikara is here. She is perfectly fine. We've made sure to keep her exercised, keep her healthy. She has eaten everything, but it's fine. She is strong and sturdy and long awaited your arrival. And you can see sort of as you guys are sort of approaching and there's conversations going on. The stable hand has gone inside. He's gone, whoa there, girl. Holy shit! And suddenly the barn door slams open, literally off the hinges, bang onto the floor, and there charges Chikara towards you. You almost think she's going to ram into you and destroy you, but she does.
Everyone out the way.
Right. She does stop, like literally inches from you, wraps her trunk all the way around you, Glyndon, so that you're like literally restrained, lifts you up, and just releases this. Drops you back down, curls the trunk around you, like just trying to be like really, really close to you, like pulling you close to her, like not really letting you like just be very, very uncomfortable. But she's clearly
a little pat on the trunk.
Also, Chikara does make note of you as well, Dok, and accidentally just budges you with your trunk. But you can tell she was trying to stroke your back, but through her excitement, she accidentally just whacked you in the back with this pretty big trunk.
I'm going to slip Mazzy's family 10 gold for looking after Chikara and for the broken door.
That's fair. She'll accept that for the broken door, at the very least. And continuing on, she says, "Well, send Mazzy my love if you're to see him soon. Take care of yourselves, boys, and well, you take care of them too." And she looks up at Chikara, who then responds, almost, you're not sure whether coincidentally or non-coincidentally, just with a trunk roaring up again. Spent about sort of 15-20 minutes there. The stable hand just sort of getting things ready for her to leave, gives you a sort of small bag of apples and things to feed her on the way. You get up on back of Chikara and get on the road again. And it's not too long down the road of the Hawksmoor Mountains before you find yourself near Dust Peak Mountain, the mountain that Markuuls was from. Dok, this is a fairly well-known mountain. I say fairly well-known. Make me a quick history or nature check. You can do it as well, Glyndon, if you'd like.
I'll give Dok advantage, unless you don't have good history, and then I'll do it.
I don't have good either.
I've got quite good history, so do you want to give me advantage? We'll have a good old chinwag about the history of this mountain. He's alright.
Yeah, Dok, you're able to sort of think, oh, was it this? No, it was that way. And you manage to find your way towards this place. It is a fairly desolate mountain. There is some semblance of like holy architecture there. There is sort of like this archway before the pathway heads up with Mars's symbol engraved onto it, but it's really like not been taken care of very well at all in recent years. Almost sort of left for Dragonborn. As you guys know, the Dragonborn were basically a lot of Dragonborn decided that they really liked Mars and they wanted to join and worship Mars, the god of war. And so they went to Hawksmoor to do that, and the dwarves basically said, well, we don't like Dragonborn, so if you guys just want to go up on that mountain, there's a temple up there, you guys can chill up there. Don't be near us, you're weird. So that's where they went. You begin heading up the pathway, and you maybe a sort of half an hour up. It's getting fairly chilly, it's getting fairly cold. The fresh, crisp, but sort of icy, chilled air seeping through your clothes are probably actually a little bit of somewhat refreshing, considering the last cold air you were with was damp and murky and horrible in the Underdark. But it's not too terrible, and you find yourselves going up and up and up, and eventually find a white dragonborn dressed in breastplate armor, fairly shoddy breastplate armor, but she tried the best she could to keep it sort of in shape. She holds a spear in her hands, and she's sort of on the very, very edge of the mountain, like a little bit too close to the edge of this. Basically, like the path goes up sort of around the mountain at this point. It's almost like a cliff face down below, and she's just sort of looking out. And you can see from here, you can still just about see the road, and she's sort of looking out down sort of upon the road. But as she sort of begins to hear Chikara's sort of foot stomps, she immediately turns, and as you approach her, she's just got a spear sort of leveled towards all of you. Who are you? Well, this mountain, this is not a tourist destination. Please, what is your business here?
We're looking for the clerics of Mars that live on this mountain.
Yes, I am one of them. Why do you search for us?
We unfortunately come bearing sad tidings.
Yes.
We come to return the body of Markuul. He died aiding us in battle, and we promised we would bring him home.
You're them. Guardians. And she just sort of breaks down for a minute, like slams a spear into the ground, looks out upon the thing, turns around a little bit so that you can't quite see a tear sort of fall down her cheek before turning back and going, please, come with me. Would you be able to come with me, deliver his body to the temple above?
Yes, of course. That's why we're here. Lead on.
She leads on, and this mountain is like, it's very, very clear that this is very, very well protected by the clerics here. From sort of now, every 15 to 20 minutes you're traveling, you see a new dragonborn who are very confused as to why you're here, and she doesn't say anything. She doesn't tell them about Markuul as yet. She just says, come, we need to go up the mountain. And eventually you find yourselves going sort of up and up and up, and it takes you a couple of hours to get to the top. Now almost sort of like leading this pack of dragonborn behind you. Before eventually you can see, I did put it there. For eventually you can see quite a beautiful sort of shrine ahead of you on the pathway. Again, this place hasn't been visited by any architect or anything, any time in its recent history. But what is left behind is still sort of dwarven architecture, still beautiful, and very sort of regal in sort of and functional as well. So it's a god of Mars, a temple of Mars sort of thing. Markuul slightly understated its grandeur, which is, for whatever reason you're not entirely certain. Dok, you would know that in Hawksmoor there is a much bigger temple. huge temple of Mars in a lot of places. He's a very popular and big god for many people. But this place is a lot bigger than the sort of small thing he said about. He was talking about on your adventures. You find yourself sort of leading these people, and as you go up, a few of them are the couple of Dragonborn are sort of by the gate, and this white Dragonborn leading the group sort of just waves her spear. They open the door for you. Chikara is pretty happy to be out of the cold at this point. She, obviously being an elephant, doesn't understand the situation, so she's still sort of walking around pretty happily, like
lolling about,
waving her trunk around, flapping her ears, constantly sort of looking up at you. But then obviously your face being quite somber at this moment, so she just sort of looks like, oh, okay, cool, we're being sad now. But then keeps going, waving her trunk around again. You continue inside, where another white dragonborn. From how they greet each other, Dok, in Draconic, you can tell it's this one's mother. Approach you. This white dragonborn wears sort of like the equivalent of sort of like studded leather armor. She's getting on a little bit. You can probably assume around sort of Markuuls' age, like late 60s, late 50s, early 60s. She holds a pretty huge broadsword at her side, however. That doesn't seem to have, stopped her movement or anything. She just looks at what is the meaning of this? Why have you all left your posts? Who are these people? What? Wait. I know you. Stories. And then her eyes suddenly just open. No. Markuul is he?
Are we on the back of Shikara?
I'd say you've sort of entered the temple. The temple entrance is pretty big, like big enough for Chikara and a couple of people to sort of walk in abreast, so you could still be wanted to.
Can we get off and I don't know, just kind of take a hand and just say it's a long story, you might want to sit down?
Yes. Everyone, she sort of shouts into the hall. We must make preparations. Markuul was a warrior. He deserves a warrior's burial. Sorry. Would you stay for it?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Everyone, chop chop, get to it. And as you clap, you can just sort of hear it sort of echo out through the halls. Now the halls in here are actually not very big. Compared to the grandeur of the outside, it is sort of, as far as you can see, one sort of room the size of a sort of like average sort of chapel, with a couple of sort of smaller rooms around the side, but a large staircase that seems to spiral round further up the peak, right to its summit, which is where a lot of them seem to be going. This woman sits down and asks, "So, what happened? Were you successful?"
We were, but the price we paid was still too high.
Yes. We did as asked. We managed to rout many of the dark elves and dark dwarf hideouts in these mountains. They started to disappear yesterday. They started to flee. We assumed that meant you were done. You were coming home. We've had people looking out for Markuul, but I understand now. And she just sort of sits there, like, quietly, clearly taking a pretty big toll on her, and pretty much everyone else in this place. As far as you've seen, these Dragonborn are fairly despite their living conditions and where they are, they're pretty happy. They're pretty confident and things like that. But this is clearly taken a bit of a toll, and people are just silent, like moving through here, very, very mournful.
Take a hand and just say if it's any help, he did not die in vain. I don't think we'd be here without him. He helped save the world.
Then he fulfilled his purpose. If what you say is true, then he will go to Celestia. We are proud of him. Please make yourselves at home. The funeral will probably be held in a few hours. Generally, warriors' funerals are simple, especially up here with more resources. We never did get anyone to go out and get supplies in the end. Oh, Markuul. She heads into a sort of small back room. You can see a sort of private, from the little you can see here, it's a sort of private chapel, a much smaller area. And she sits there and you can just hear her whispering a few prayers. Is there anything you guys would like to do right now?
Well, kind of work out where to take Markuul's body and...
Yeah, after a little while a few Dragonborn will come and sort of help you guys out. They will take Markuul's body from you. Well, first they'll ask where he is. Like, obviously, then they assume, hearing you guys are the Guardians, you probably aren't lying. You probably do have him. But yeah, they're a little confused, but when you sort of pull them out the bag of holding and things like that.
Yeah, very carefully put the bag down and try and gently usher him out into their arms and pass off all his armour and everything.
Yeah, and they settle down. They settle him down. They cover his scales in sort of oils and powders and things to help with sort of burial rites. They put him.
Can I ask, is he going to be cremated or is he going to be buried?
He'd be cremated.
Okay.
In sort of draconic traditions.
Okay. I really want to give him my ring, my guardian ring. But if he's going to be burnt, it's not going to burn with him, is it? It won't burn hot enough to melt it, I don't think.
Potentially not.
Okay.
But I mean, there would then be like a sort of like burial urn. I guess you could have to sort of.
Okay, I'll add it to that. Yeah, because he was a guardian in my eyes by the end, I think.
That's fair.
Also, I'll just get Oramis to make me a new one.
Fair enough. So so they sort of prepare his body. They put a new, clean set of these sort of bright red robes. These red robes of Mars over him. They put him back in his armor, which by this time, a bit later on in the evening, has been sort of cleaned and washed of blood and blood and all this random stuff. Some very basic tempering work has been done to it to sort of even out dents and things like that, but nothing too substantial. His flail is placed on his chest as he's placed on this large sort of wooden sort of, almost like a pallet, but sort of inscribed with draconic runes and things like that. You are able then, so you are asked, in fact, if you guys would like to help carry his, being the last people he served with, help carry his body towards its final rest up the peak. If you would like to, joining you are Black Dragonborn and a blue one, both who were his, a little bit older now, but they were his first sort of students, first people he sort of took under his wing. They're both being fairly somber and silent in this moment there, collecting their thoughts, I guess you'd say.
Is Tia Abby or Chantal?
It's Abby.
Okay, I don't think now's the appropriate time for a mind spoiler. I think that's a bit rude, actually.
Not the time.
Oh, I didn't know if Abby was on the call yet. This deep, like, funeral, real sad. Sorry.
What an entrance!
Indeed.
I'm sure this is not an issue, but like, if we're carrying the coffin with tall dragonborn, how's that working?
So most of the dragonborn here aren't. I mean, dragonborn aren't necessarily taller than the average human. They're sort of like 6 foot, things like that. That's sort of like the average height is like about 6 foot. Dok is obviously a little bit smaller, so he'll have to obviously push his arms up a little bit if he wants.
If you holding by the side, and Dok's like, oh. It's like a really awkward like chest height in between, like shoulder and waist. It's fine, I'm strong. I can bear it.
Exactly.
Emotionally, I'm social.
Oh.
The evening sort of passes on. People sort of hurry into place and things like that. Many of these dragonborn themselves get dressed in these sort of new, bright red sort of garments and clothes. They wear full attire as if they're sort of like going to war. Like they're wearing like full armor, full shields, full weapons, everything like that. And they all sort of go upstairs and stand sort of in ranks at attention. The time eventually comes as sundown, like the sun begins to set, and you take Markuul's body up to the peak. It is a long, winding staircase. It's a little bit awkward, but they do make sure to sort of take it slow as everyone's sort of going up. And leading the troop is this white dragonborn woman who's now dressed in these long, sort of gilded gold, long red robes that sort of seem to trail behind her a little bit, but then sort of going underneath Markuul's sort of like the thing he's on between all of you guys. Heads up to the very end of the room, end of the thing, and now that you're on the summit, it is bitterly cold. It's very, very cold. The winds are blowing quite harshly, but no one here seems to care. No one's shivering. No one really minds. There's a very sort of somber moment. And this isn't the tallest mountain around. Like this is sort of like, I don't know, like Snowdon sized compared to many of the others. When you get to the end of the sort of ranks and ranks of about sort of 2 or 3 dozen dragonborn, you place his body down. You take your place, sort of stood at the side in the front row, and the white dragonborn sort of speaks up. Tonight, we give thanks to Mars as we return to him, the noblest warrior this temple has ever seen. Markuul. The tomes once said, a true warrior fights not to attack what is before him, but to protect what is behind him. Markuul told me this once, long, long ago. Though, through all our strife, our hardships, the bitter, bitter cold, Markuul was always there to keep a smile on everyone's face. I must have heard jokes about the snow a few dozen times this year alone. He was not just a noble warrior, a devout follower, a poor comedian, but he was a loyal and fierce friend. Before he left on his journey, I asked him, "Are you not afraid of whatever lies down in those caverns?" He told me, "Of course I am afraid. My faith gives me strength. Faith not only in Mars, but the men I am joining, and the purpose for which we are going." Those were his last words to us all. I know not his last words in reality, but I'm sure they were. She seems to sort of break down at this moment and takes a moment to herself. Let us prepare his body. At which point, sort of walking down the alley, 5 dragonborn walk very, very slowly, each sort of, again, red robes with hoods down. 1 blue, 1 white, 1 black, green, and red. They make it to the very end of the thing. Gather sort of around his body. She grabs the torch that she's holding, places it over his body, and each of these Dragonborn let out their breath weapons over him, creating this multicoloured, beautiful flame, almost like radiant. It envelops the sky, glistening and sparkling into what is now becoming fairly dark. It crackles and burns for a little while. Each of them take their place back, and there is silence as essentially people are just watching the flames sort of die out soon. Though his sun has set, his light shall linger round us yet, bright, radiant, and blessed. She says that in Draconic, for which, Dok, you would understand. Glyndan, you got no idea, but you assume.
I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. At which point, each and every Dragonborn begins to erupt into song. This song is in Draconic, and the song itself is sort of slow at first, but it has this beat to it, beat like a heartbeat, and it sort of resonates with every single person there. And as they go through the song, Dok, you would know it's a song about a warrior going on a journey, finding his place in the world, and returning home, and finally realizing what he went to war for after all. In the end, there is silence. The fire comes down. Everyone is basically taken back inside the temple, and there is a wake. Sort of kegs of fairly old ale and wine are sort of brought out, sort of bottles of wine and things, and you're all invited to a night of celebrating Markuul's life. You find out lots of information that you didn't previously know about Markuul. He was married twice. You didn't know that. Once to an elf, once to a Dragonborn. The elf unfortunately outlived him. They realised that he was going to outlive him, and it wasn't really going to work. And the Dragonborn unfortunately didn't want to join him up on the mountain. She was sick and tired of it up there, and she left. You find out that he dabbled in wizardry once, but unfortunately set some of the curtains in the temple on fire. And you found that he himself, to try and get everyone's spirits up one quite harsh winter, decided to do a one-man show in the middle of the temple. It failed drastically, and again set the curtains on fire.
Markuul, Bane of the Curtains.
But you hear many more revelries and stories of him fighting giants, orcs, goblins, all sorts of creatures, and with each and every battle, he led, and physically and literally led these people into it. He was one of the oldest here. He was like a father to many people. One of the reasons why they're all so upset. And the night draws on. Is there anything you guys would like to do during this wake? There's celebration, there's drinking, things like that. It's very sort of somber, but pretty a nice event. What would you guys like to do?
Is that like an urn where?
Yeah. There is an urn sort of on this very sort of fine pedestal at the very end of the very end of the hallway.
Okay, I'm gonna put my guardian ring in there.
Okay.
So
I gave you +1 HP, so
I know. I need all the HP I can get. Maybe I should reconsider this. No, okay. It's going in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I put it in there or put it on the side. I want people to know that we considered him a guardian.
Yeah. I mean, you can put it in there if you'd like to. They say that obviously, so once this ceremony is done, they won't like spread his ashes they keep them in a certain part of this temple. So there are the ashes of many fallen warriors in this temple, and things like that. So if you wanted to put them in there, you could, and it would remain with him forever, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Man,
Oh,
that's probably it. That's what you want to say.
I mean, just mainly spend most of the evening kind of probably feeling a little bit bad and like learning, like with the amount of things that we're sort of learning about Markuuls that we never really knew. And at one point just sort of like wander over to the ashes and say a few like Apollo specific prayers for him.
yeah.
Would Dok have a drink, JJ?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I think at some point I would encourage Dok that we tell them how valiantly he fought to save our lives, and how many people he took down with him, basically, like high-level stuff. So I don't know if you want us to do a performance. I think we're probably the two worst people for performance checks.
I was about to say, yeah. Could you do me a performance check? Either one of you with advantage, or both of you can
I
try.
have advantage, Glyndon, because
Oh yes, here we go.
-2, so.
Oh, okay, that makes my 0 look class.
But yeah, I do agree that at some point we would probably either sort of maybe this either would have occurred in a few hours before he died, or at the at the wake itself.
A 15.
But yeah,
It is a valiant.
Story.
It is a valiant speech you give, and many people are enthralled by the kind of stuff that you fought, you saw. You specifically mentioned about the fact that he like leaped onto this massive crab, and like pulled its, unclamped its thing back open, unclamped its sort of claws back open to save Mazzy. You mentioned the fact that you think he took down a mind flayer all on his own, as well as one or two Duragai. He took them down with him when he fell. Things like that. People are, they're definitely sort of enthralled by this speech that you give. Neil raise a glass at the end of the night to Markuul. And that's pretty much the evening. Everyone settles down. You two are offered beds, the same as everyone else. Unfortunately, everyone still sleeps pretty much. It's sort of like on the floor or on these sort of stones in one of the chapel rooms. There is almost like these bunks built into the walls. Sort of just like stone. It's almost like places where you'd put sort of sarcophaguses. You'd slide them in, but instead it's for people. There's floor in there and stuff, and you're offered to sleep in there should you wish. You have a long rest. Wake up in the morning. You're offered some rations and things before you go. Allowed your leave, but before you leave, the white dragonborn who approached you before walks up to the both of you and says, "Thank you for everything. I think you should have this." She pulls from behind her Markuul's own shield. It is a slightly wide kite shield, sort of almost like a sort of like diamond shape. It's the shield that he had this entire time. The one he took down to the Underdark. It's the one he has had ever since he was on the mountain. She says it's saved his life more times than he can remember. He thinks that he would like one of you guys to have it. Specifically Dok, seeing that he has a shield on his back. It is just a regular shield. There's unfortunately nothing special about it, but
it's very special. How dare you?
There is a little sort of scratched thing just belongs to Markuul in just on the sort of back of the shield.
Is this the one he had in the Underdark?
This is the one he had in the Underdark.
So he scratched on the message on the back of his shield, didn't he?
Oh, he did. I can't remember what he scratched.
Do you want to see that every time you hold your shield up, JJ?
Yeah,
I think it was quite sad what he scratched.
Not in this notebook, so I can't.
Okay.
It's unfortunately not in my notebook either. But I will look back through the stream and find that out because I remember it was sad. You know what? Yeah, figure that out later. But yes, and you may make it back down the mountain. It's fairly early now. It's about sort of 10, 11-ish by the time you make it all the way back down the mountain. It's obviously easier going down, and you are given a guide, a cohort of 2 or 3 Dragonborn to sort of guide you back down the mountain. Make sure nothing is, going to come get you. As you're sort of walking down, you do notice this very, very large bird. Sort of looks very much like a sort of eagle. Sort of flies around, and you can see it sort of stares at you for a long while. Like you think this is the kind of thing that can probably lift a man off his feet. But sort of seeing your number and Chikara, it backs off.
Yeah.
Flies away.
And so I just had a quick look back, and he wrote "Save my brothers" on his shield. So I don't know. I think that's quite nice, actually.
That's quite nice. Quite a nice little thing.
What was
if you want
the Elder Dragonborn, the one that seems to be in charge? What was her name?
Oh fuck! I have this written down somewhere.
We haven't specifically asked, but I feel like there would probably been a lot of it name learning.
Shana.
Sorry, I was looking back there. We set off.
Yeah.
Do you think we could ask about this hidden temple? Is it something they'd have any inkling on, or because we don't really know where we're going, do we?
Okay. I'll make a roll. Oh, okay. She rolled a nat 20.
Oh,
Obviously, it's a hidden. This temple has these books exactly. No, so it's obviously a very, very hidden old temple that not many people know about. But she does sort of mention we have seen very strange things in these mountains recently. There was one such. I think it was a few nights ago. There were lights coming from many miles north. I must warn you, but you must have still been in the Underdark. But they're like lights flashing in the sky, and something arcane was happening over there. I've heard of many temples and things to the arcane in this place. I also know that a lot of them haven't been visited in a very long time. Be very careful wherever you go. Don't watch your backs. A lot of things aren't necessarily as they seem in these mountains, especially nowadays. Very, very strange. Anyways, I wish you good luck. She gives you guys a brief hug. Set down the mountain. Continue on your way. As you pass sort of down the way, Glyndon, once again you see this owl swoop down from the sky. Its eyes glimmering with starlight. Extends a wing down a slightly sort of off the beaten track pathway. And away you go. Now, we turn slightly to another part of the mountains, still fairly close, where 2 young adventurers are gallivanting, that's not the right word, are just sort of travelling through on suspicion of what they know so far. So what you know so far, Celine and, is it Tia or Thea? Thea. Celine and Thea. So this book that you have, this old tome that you have found, tells you that somewhere in the north of the mountains is an arcane, is a library of vast information, of untapped and unknown knowledge for many, many centuries. An incredible, vast amount of wealth. And yes, the last known location of it was it's somewhere in the north-ish of the mountains. You guys have faced a few different things on your way. You yourselves have faced some dark elves and dark dwarves and things in the past couple of days, though they seem to, especially recently, be in a hurry. Like, you faced a couple in the past couple of days, but then, like, yesterday, a group which would have previously attacked you are just sort of sprinting right past. They don't even care about you anymore. You have to watch your backs, obviously, but it was a bit confusing, but nevertheless, they passed you by just fine. Would you guys like to explain your characters a little bit? So we'll start with you, Thea. Who is Thea? What is...
She is a tiefling sorcerer. She just wants an adventure. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Just excited to be out of the house.
I'm just excited to be here.
She's trying to find cool stuff. That's basically all. She just wants to have fun. She doesn't want to live a boring life.
Excellent. Change things up here a little bit. Chantal's finished eating and I'm now sat in the corner of the sofa. Yeah, sounds good. Oh, it's not my book. That's why I was so uncomfortable. All right. So yes.
It still wasn't my dinner.
That's a good point. At least it wasn't my dinner. And Celine, would you like to give a brief introduction to Celine? Very quick.
Celine is a Moonstone Dragonborn who has lost her way from the Feywilds. She's dropped from the Feywilds. One day she just kind of accidentally fell out of it, and now she can't get back. She has a trident as a weapon, which is somehow magically bonded to her, which is the reason she fell out of the Feywilds. It just hit her one day. Thea, is it? Thea found her and helped heal her, and now they're travelling together.
Indeed. And as you guys are sort of travelling along, you guys haven't seen anyone now for a good couple of hours. You're once again sort of off the beaten track. The hours are rolling on in the day, and both Dok and Glyndan and Thea and Celine, you all sort of hear footsteps near and around your location. It's not uncommon for these sort of hermit paths to be obviously travelled upon, but you do sort of keep your guard up. And eventually, after sort of slowly making your way forward, you do see signs of other people, both groups. So we'll start with sort of Dok and Glyndan. What are you guys doing? You think there might be people around you, sort of. Make a perception check with both of you.
Nice.
I'm still sad.
Oh, you've been hit hard by everything that's happened.
Okay.
I have eyes.
Oh, you meant...
And Thea, would you like to make a perception check as well? Someone's done it wrong.
Sorry, I thought you meant...
No, it's okay.
I'm just as perceptive as you.
Well, this is where the session ends because we just walked straight past each other.
So, Dok is like you rightly said, a little bit too sort of upset at the minute. A lot has happened in the past few days. It's been a very sort of emotional roller coaster, pretty much. Glyndan, you're keeping a little bit more of a sort of eye out, but nothing too
Impressive.
yeah.
Useful.
Yeah, that's the word impressive. And you find
There's some snow. There's a rock. There's some
Doc's
snow.
still sad.
yeah. And you just sort of, you're kind of sort of zoned out, but you you almost think you hear something, but it's just a little bit too late. And Celine and Thea, so Thea, you are sort of too busy, like you take this very unopportune moment to start looking for your book again. Like, it's got to be around here somewhere, come on. And you're reading through your book. Celine, being a slightly more trained individual, is somewhat constantly keeping her sort of ears out and does hear something. But you don't realise anything, and Dok doesn't realise anything. And as you both sort of turn around this corner with this very, very large stone, suddenly just slam, bonk, right into each other's heads. Literally a pretty long drop, like about 5 feet to your right. This is the sort of like hermit road through the mountains I'm talking about, but like, yeah, both of you just stumble around the corner. Ow! What would you like to do? Any and all of you.
Excuse me, I almost dropped my book. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, it's not our fault you almost dropped your book, is it? You should be more careful with such a valuable thing.
Fine.
What's it a book about?
Stuff.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
Adventures.
Gonna whip out my much bigger book and say this is also a book about magic.
It's not about how big the book is.
It's about what's inside. Oh.
I'm quite glad it's not about how big something is. It's just like, as I imagine everyone is at least a head taller than me.
It's a very dangerous part of the world to be travelling in.
I could say the same thing to you.
Do we not look like seasoned warriors to you?
Do I not?
Not particularly, no.
Obviously, very much.
You look more like a barbarian.
At this point, Celine's just going to put her hand on Thea's head, but she's fine. She's with me. This is a 6-foot dragonborn.
So Dok's like looking almost straight forwards and it's like, So he has to
What
look
was your-
up off that.
What was your class, Chantel?
Pardon?
What was your class?
Fighter.
Okay, so you look the shit, basically.
This is a moonstone dragonborn, so scales like glimmering moonstone. Pretty strong.
She's 107 hit points.
Yeah, she's beefy. But wearing quite sort of regal, very sort of quite nice robes, I think you said. As well as some decent, I think it's a breastplate armor. Decent armor, and obviously this rather large pointy trident in one arm as well. What would you like to do?
Where are you headed?
Please. To a library. But
To a library?
You probably won't know about it. It's fine.
I'm very familiar with lots of libraries, actually. I think you'll find.
Libraries are great.
I think we're sort of beating around the bush here. I think we might be looking for the same library, because I'm not sure there's that many here to choose from.
Hawksmoor is about 500 miles that way. We got a big library down there.
No, I've been to one 6 times. Read them all.
How long did you stay if you read all the books there?
That doesn't matter. If they can't see you sleeping there, they can't kick you out.
Yeah, we haven't known you for very long, but you sound like trouble.
Like flashback of the Guardians walking through the library, and then from Thea's perspective, where she's just got a little bed behind a bookshelf, we're all completely oblivious.
Yeah, like when you guys all like you see like come to a flashback, and when that hidden door opens of the library, Thea's just there like, I didn't know that was there.
Sneaks in.
I've been there for like 3 weeks now.
Do you know where the library is?
No.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Slowly.
Getting there?
How?
As in getting to the library, or you have something that tells you where it is?
Both.
Ooh.
I think. I assume.
What's helping you find it?
I have a nice old book that tells me all about old stuff.
Ooh. Sounds valuable.
Is my book? I've forgotten what the book. What does my book do?
So your book is a very old library, written by a guy who a lot of people thought was written by a famous historian for having very sort of out there views and ideas about sort of what happened with certain things. And it is somewhat known in Ambyr's history that there once was a very different arcane library. Like there was once a very different center of magic in Ambyr. So the minute right now it's the college in the capital. That's where the Archmages, it's the capital, it all makes sense. But once upon a time, thousands of years ago, there once was a different place. And this book that you're reading is by this historian who believes that this library is somewhere in the Hawksmoor Mountains, and that it holds extremely vast wealths of knowledge. An incredible place, but has been hidden and kept away for thousands of years. And in the book, he makes a lot of very outlandish theories as to why this place was hidden away. There's a lot of different ones that he comes up with, sort of arguing sort of pro and like for and against, and with sort of each one. There's a lot of different things of like who might have studied there. It is presumed that the first magic user and wielder ever created it. It is also presumed that the 13 main wizards of the world all at least once were the sort of head librarian, and possibly at once were there. Sorry, not 13, 8 were there sort of together and ran it all together. A lot of different sort of theories like that. Here's a lot of theory, but in places these theories do somewhat match up just a little bit too well for it all to just be like coincidence and strange talk and stupid stuff.
Would I recognise the book?
Roll me a history check.
No.
No. So you've heard of the author, definitely, and you've heard that he has, in fact, in his life, though he's made a lot of conclusions and things about history that have been proven wrong, he has more ideas and things that have been proven right. Many different old dungeons and crypts and temples and shrines have been found by him with his sort of very outlandish ideas throughout Ambyr. Especially in places like the whole mountain where there's a lot of place to search. So, yeah, it's not necessarily out of the question that this is a somewhat reliable source.
Okay.
So you say there's some things you're still figuring out. Is there anything you can't read in the book?
No, you can pretty much read it all. It's all written in common, but it just doesn't give a very accurate description of where it is. So there are a lot of rumours in the book of like, oh, some people say it's under this mountain because this mountain a few years ago had an ice thing and the ice thing fell, but it fell in a weird way. Or some people say it's under this mountain because this mountain is perfect size for a library. Or like a lot of different stuff, but all these mountains, the things that he's saying, are in the north of Hawksmoor. So that's the sort of why you're sort of looking around there and why you'd guess it's sort of there. And as you guys are speaking, as you guys are talking, and Gylndan, you're sort of sharing ideas with these guys, suddenly, once again, you see this owl swoop sort of past, swirl around, perch itself on this rock that you guys have found yourself next to, and it just extends a wing to go the way you and Dok were going, the way that Thea and Celine were coming sort of away from.
This is my book.
No one can see this owl. Only you.
I'm pointing at a rock.
That's a nice
I forgot that, yeah.
you've got there.
Oh, sorry, I'm very emotionally overcome. We're following some divine intervention, and I feel perhaps coupled with your book, we could make that into a powerful combination, find what we want to find.
Yeah. I mean, if it gets us there quicker, sounds like a plan.
What gets us there at all, I think, is a good start. We'll worry about speed later.
Indeed. And with that, and you guys somewhat getting on the road, can I get everyone to make a survival check?
Oh dear.
As you continue down the way, Gylndan, sort of every 5 minutes or so, this owl swoops back again, lands, gestures as to which way you should go, and then swoops off again.
Celine, you're from the Feywild?
Yeah.
I've never heard of a place like that. Would I have heard of a place like that?
You probably would have, but make a history or arcana check to see
Both.
as to how much of it you would have learned. Damn! Alright, so yeah, you know quite a... you
I've
would
heard
have...
a little bit about it. Can you tell me some more?
you've heard a fair bit about it.
It's very different from here. That's what I can tell you.
Very magical.
Yeah.
Magic and everything.
Does Celine know? It's just if she knows, so it's hard to describe
Yeah.
the difference.
It's sort of like an over-exaggerated and magical version of our own world. So, for example, like she'd maybe sort of point out, like in the Feywild, that tree's there, but it's like 3 times as big, and a weird pixie probably lives in it, and it's very strange. And that mountain's probably there, except when you walk past it, the mountain gets up and says hi. A very weird.
It's like drugs.
Have you been here very long? Things are a little bit different for Dragonborn down around here. Might not find that people are quite so friendly out of the Feywild.
I wouldn't call people friendly in the Feywild, but I have noticed differences. Where I'm from, I am treated almost as royalty. But here is different. Yeah. Strange.
Well,
Very strange.
Does Dok sit up a little straighter then, knowing that he's in the presence of royalty? Oh,
Shit,
good
alright.
time.
Knock the dirt off my face. And... Oh,
To
no.
be clear, I'm not royalty. It's simply that I am pretty and I am shiny, and in the Feywild, that is appreciated.
I see.
Here, apparently, people see nothing but a dragon, and it seems that they don't like me.
Is this a public conversation you're having, so with the rest of us here?
Yeah, I would assume so.
No, man.
Can I lean across the dock and whisper, I think Oramis would do very well in the Feywild. Should send him there on a one-way ticket.
Indeed.
When he's not here, he gets roasted.
Indeed. Continuing on, so let's look at the rolls we got for survival. So we got a 15, a 12, 18, and another 12. So I'll say that you guys are continuing on your way. You've pretty much mostly passed. Nothing sort of out here in the wilds comes to your, comes like attacking, no real sort of danger comes at you per se, but you do find that you are blocked by quite a long, so you're sort of travelling along this route. And it does seem that this old hermit's path leads sort of over this quite large sort of canyon. It's very, very long, sort of like stone bridge, maybe, I don't know, 50 feet across. It's very rickety and very old, even just looking at it. And Roll Premier. Gylndan, so you're sort of leading the group, obviously, knowing this sort of owl is travelling wherever. And the owl sort of lands on the thing, points in that direction, flutters off. And then you get to it, and you sort of take one step on the thing. And something on your foot just thunk. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, so good at
Stone beneath your feet just crumples, and this entire bridge slowly begins to fall.
I didn't try to go first.
Foot slips, land on your back, manage to turn just about, but you are now about to literally fall.
Oh my god, help please.
You can try to fall and dive forward and like grab him.
Okay, make me an acrobatics check to leap, dive forward, and grab him in time. Alright, 17, yeah, so you pretty much managed to... You just about sort of managed to grab him as he's falling, stop him from falling. And, I mean, you've got like +4 strength. Glyndan's a pretty weedy guy. Also, you're able to pull him back easily.
None of that, please.
Pull him back up easily enough. The bridge seems to have broken most of the way, so now there's about a 30 sort of foot gap between you and where you need to be. As on the other end of the thing, almost taunting. You can tell it's probably not taunting, but almost taunting you. The owl is once again there, just going, sort of directing you one way. You're just looking at it like, there's a fucking gap.
Can I shout at the owl and just say I can't get to the temple if I'm dead?
The owl blinks. And
Fantastic.
what would you like to do?
Oh, we're in a bit of bother, aren't we? I think we have to go that way. I know that seems counterintuitive because the bridge just broke, but you got to trust me on this one. I think we go that way. It's just how do we get there?
I do not know.
Wait, how far is it?
About 30 feet.
Okay.
I can fly there.
You can fly there?
Yeah.
You can't just drop that in conversation.
Don't have to use permanently, but I can get them.
Dok, you can fly as well.
Yes, I can.
I can teleport. Thea, can you get there? Thea?
Hold on, I'm trying to read. I'm slow.
Now is not the time for the book, Thea.
It's
Now is the time for action.
Always time for the book.
If you're willing, I could turn you into a bird.
A long rest.
What's the name for it?
Gem.
So good.
Is it 30 feet dead, Ben, or is it just under?
It's about 30 feet dead, but if you have a thing that travels you 30 feet, you can make it there.
Okay, cool. Thea, I could turn you into some sort of winged animal.
I mean, she looks pretty small. I could probably just carry her.
Oh, that's true, actually, yeah. It's up to you, though.
What kind of winged animal? And how
Well,
long
would
does it
you-
last?
Would you fancy and an hour?
An hour?
Is it an hour? Yeah,
Yes, an hour.
it's an hour. Whatever you fancy.
Stop being a winged animal?
Yeah, if you just peck me 3 times, then I know that you don't want to be an animal anymore. It's up to you. Doc's done it before. It was quite fun. You enjoyed it, didn't you, Doc?
Yeah, I was a shark once and an owl. I was shot at when I was an owl, though, by some rangers.
Okay, I don't want to be a winged animal. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, okay. Doc, that wasn't the best sales pitch. We need to work on that.
Being an owl is great. Just don't go near any rangers. It's fine.
Well, I don't know where the rangers are. They might be anywhere.
Well, I don't think they're going to appear over here. I don't think they're down there.
We work with a ranger. They're not that good.
Okay, I'll be an owl if you're offering to
Oh, Doc, if you can carry it, it saves me a spell slot.
Yeah.
carry me.
I will carry you.
Carry me.
Yeah. Currently elsewhere. So it's just you.
Ben, can I Misty Step over there, please?
You can indeed. Doc, how you get?
I will use a channel divinity and I will sprout wings and scales all over my body. And, well, 2 wings and then scales all over my body. And offer you a piggyback ride or fireman's carry or however you would like to be carried.
Piggyback.
Okay.
What a great day.
Now here's a question. Chikara.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck.
Oh, that's true.
Another end as you misty step over.
Yeah, I'll look
I
back and see her and go, fuck's sake.
Except that you have more than one person.
Not Misty Step now.
Oh.
Also, you can only use your flight thing once per day, so obviously if you use it now, you unfortunately won't be able to use it potentially later on in another situation.
Wait, would you allow me to retcon that?
Yeah, I'll allow you to
Okay.
Into something small, I can carry her as well.
Well, I was just gonna turn her into a mouse, put her in my pocket, and Misty Step over. Yeah, I'll do that, Ben. What a fantastic use of spell slots.
Use like 3 spells together. Does it look like I could carry Celine as well? Do I think she'd be too heavy for me to fly over?
I would say you could make me an athletics check to try and grab them both.
Well, I think I would take one, come back, and then take the
Oh,
other.
right. Oh, yeah, in that case, yeah. I mean, you turn into a slightly more draconic version of yourself. I'd say, yeah, you wouldn't be able to like gain much height and it'd be a slow fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could probably
Just
take
a-
Celine with you as well.
Yeah. I will carry anyone. I mean, if it's going.
How are you carrying them?
Well,
Are you one arm in each of
I
them?
was going to ride on my piggyback and then I was going to drop her off and come back again, and then
Okay, fair enough.
I'll offer the same choice to Celine. You can go fireman's carry, piggyback, in my arms, Your Highness.
You could just pick me up. That's
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
like one hand under the knees and like one behind the back and just flap, slowly across. It only lasts a minute, but I imagine I could get there and back and there and back in, well, there and back and there again in a minute carrying.
Oh yeah. It's 30 feet. It's nothing particularly, excessive. And over the other side, you find this sort of part of the bridge is somewhat more sturdy.
The owl then flies back to the original side.
Oh,
It does
Right.
wobble a little bit as you sort of are all on it, but manage to make it over the other side. And you continue on through a path. And it's about sort of 20 minutes, half an hour more travelling when the owl will swoop down. As the path is now getting less of a path and more you guys just trekking straight through wilderness, straight through rocky terrain, snow, ice, things like that. And
She can't
It gets to
like a mammoth. She's not actually a mammoth, but she's like hairy like a mammoth, isn't she?
I don't remember.
she is not.
I
She
don't think she is.
herself has been shaved and
Yeah.
doesn't really grow a lot of hair.
Oh,
No.
But many more like her in the north would be like that. Yes.
Okay.
I've left her as a mouse, by the way, Ben, seeing as it lasts for an hour, I might as well use that.
Yeah.
It's
So
also easier to carry.
yeah. You travel through this area, following the owl once again, and it gets to a point where the owl you see this pretty big drop. Basically, it is essentially just like you walk up to this area, and then the ground goes to about 50, 60 degrees downwards, and it looks like a lot of the stonework has gone down. Essentially, you can't quite see what's at the bottom. It's pretty hazy and misty, and goes into a bit of darkness for a little bit. And the owl gets this point, and just points his wing downward.
I don't like the attitude on this now. Go here, go here. So it's pointing down a dark abyss, basically.
Basically, yeah. You think you can probably slide down, but whatever the fuck's down there, you have no idea.
Okay.
How far down is it?
At the minute, you can't necessarily... Actually, no, you have dark vision, don't you, as a tiefling?
Yeah.
So I'd say, yeah, you can see... And actually, Dok, you have dark vision as well, as a dwarf. So you guys know it's about sort of 40, maybe 50 feet down. I think you might be able to climb it. It'd be pretty tough to climb, but you might be able to climb it. Otherwise, you can just slide straight down.
What would we have to do if we slid? Some sort of dexterity save, or?
It would be either an athletics or acrobatics check.
Okay. Do you think we have to go down there? So do you think we slide? We'll try and climb down gently.
We might need to get out. If we're going to have to get out again, is there anything that looks like any like significant boulders or anything? I've got 50 feet of rope. Can I tie a rope around and like chuck it down so you've got that?
Yeah, I'd say early
and then,
mountain.
like, use that to like guide.
Up Everest.
You cut out a sec.
No, yeah. So you're in very mountainous terrain. There's plenty of boulders and things around. Just make me a quick nature or survival check to determine a good one for you guys to use, essentially to You grab one. You find a decent one. Okay, you find a decent one. One you think is decent, anyways. Right next to the ledge. It's about as big as you are. You can wrap your rope around. Can you also roll me a sleight of hand check to tie off the rope?
Can someone else do this? As I've only got one arm at the moment.
Oh, is it? Yeah, of course. It's still battered.
So my tying skills are
Yeah, or Celine. I've had a bad experience tying knots before, as in I can't really do it. So if one of you would like to have a crack, that's cool.
I might be able to do it.
Well,
No. Nope.
So you tie this knot, right? And you pretty much are like, well, I know how to tie my shoelaces. So... And if he's saying he's bad, that probably... I mean, he's wearing, like, big boots. He doesn't really need to tie shoelaces. So I'm gonna guess I'm going to do it this way. And you do it this way. And now we come to the interesting thing of who would like to go first.
Well, it was my suggestion, so I'll go first.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, look, can we say, given Gylndan's experience, we give an experimentary tug on the rope? Would that be...
Yes,
Would that
you give an experimental tug on the rope. And as you tug on the rope, the rock holds fine. I rolled an 18 on that. You're fine. However, immediately it just comes undone, literally like you can with your shoelaces when you just tug one of the laces. Immediately come. You understood that, like, oh, well.
I've read so many knot tying books. Why did this not work?
If you're trying to kill us, you're not doing a very good job.
What would you like to
Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Trying to help.
Not with that knot tied.
You do it then.
Fine, I'll do it. Sleight of hand, yeah?
Sleight of hand.
Oh, God.
Guess what? Gylndan rolls a 20.
13.
13. Okay, I'll say it's pretty decent. So, who would like to go first?
Dok.
You give it a tug.
I'll give it
And
like a little
This
one-handed tug.
this does hold.
Let's
for now.
Give a look at the thing. At least it's not coming undone immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will like slide, but like grip the rope. So I'll like slide a few feet and like grab it again, slide a few feet and grab it again, like on the bum.
Okay, I would
It's
say
like
because it's a
palm
rope,
hand.
you rolled advantage, but because one of your arms is broken, you roll with disadvantage. So that cancels each other out.
Yeah.
So just roll an athletics check. 15. Despite your heavy plate mail armor and your rugged dwarfishness, you are able to make it down safely. Who would like to go next?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roll me an athletics check.
Where do I keep my rope?
13. I'll say it's a bit of a stumble. You take a little bit more time sort of getting down. But you pass the DC. You're able to get down fine. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Yeah? Roll me an athletics check. 14.
As she's going down, Ben, can I just say to her, it's a good knot, that, isn't it? Real sturdy.
Yeah. Able to head on down just fine. Again, sort of takes you a little bit of time, but by now you've seen enough people sort of where they put their feet and things like that. You're able to get down fine. And finally, Glyndon.
Can I do acrobatics instead of athletics?
Because you're climbing down a rope, I'm going to say no. If you were just sliding down, I'd say acrobatics. But
Okay.
But you roll with... yes, I forgot to say. Actually, you roll with advantage because you're going down. A 9. Well, it's rather fitting that you tied the rope.
Oh
It
no.
was only a 13. So you're going down, and you get sort of some of the way down. And then all of a sudden, something just begins to tug. The rope has just about had enough. Can you roll me a dexterity saving throw?
How far am I falling?
You are probably now about to fall.
Yeah, how far am I falling? How far am I off the ground?
About 20 feet.
Yeah, I'll do the dex save first. 14?
14. Not bad. Not bad. I'll give it a pass.
Cheers.
It's only 20 feet after all. However, you still unfortunately take some damage, hitting the ground decently hard.
It's down a slope, though, rather than a straight drop, isn't it? We were going.
Yeah, it's that slope, so you sort of fall backwards and manage to sort of angle your body, so instead of just like hitting the back of the slope pretty hard, you almost like roll off it, turn onto your side, and end up tumbling down. But still, the tumbling down hurts a little bit. That'll be 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
On the bright side, I get my rope back.
That is true. As I was about to say, the rope comes tumbling down after you. Still, fortunately, attached to Gylndan, but the rope at the top wasn't. You're all down just fine.
Chikara is still a mouse.
Chikara is still a mouse.
That would have hurt.
That would have hurt. That would have hurt like hell.
Does Shikara take any damage? No, we're not sure.
I'm going to say no, because she's in Gylndan's pocket.
Whatever.
I threw her up in the air, passed my dex save, and caught her. This is why I don't have any pets.
This is why Glyndon fell, because he spent the whole time thinking about what he'd do if he fell.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you're able to continue on. The path being somewhat more rugged, somewhat still a bit more strange. But everyone make me a quick perception check.
Perception.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, so
Oh.
you do begin to notice signs of
Oh.
this place actually having...
Oh no.
Glyndon, you're just, you're sort of enthralled by Chikara as a mouse. And you're just waiting because you figure like any minute now she's going to become not a mouse. And that's going to be terrifying. What am I going to do? And you're also sort of looking around for this owl, but the owl doesn't seem to be anywhere at the
Here's a
minute.
question for you. If you threw Mouse Shikara at someone, right, she would have the velocity that you could throw her as a mouse, which I imagine will be quite fast, like pitching a stone at someone. If you then, in the air, cancelled polymorph, would you then have like a torpedo elephant?
I would say yes, but Chikara would take some damage as well from
Yeah, we're gonna find out as soon as we get into our next combat, JJ.
you like I said, don't sort of find any signs of this owl, but you do find the rest of you beginning to find signs of architecture, which you haven't really seen thus far. Quite old architecture, hidden beneath sort of layers of snow and ice, but you do sort of see a statue. A statue being, and enough people can point this out to, especially with a 20 and a 22, you can point this out to Gylndan, who is not really paying attention at the minute. A statue of a man. The man being quite old, quite a long beard draping down his chest, and an owl perched upon his shoulder. The staff he carries in one hand is that of basically like a sort of tree branch. His robes, you can tell, definitely gilded and very regal and very fancy. Glyndon, looking at this, this rings a lot of bells from what you've seen in the past. And making your way further forward, you pass through a sort of narrow cavern-ish way, which you can tell is the result of an avalanche sort of falling down. And there in front of you lies, sort of through the sort of crags and boulders and different things that have fallen, is a very large and grand open temple front. The temple front is like this huge, solid sort of stone building, very almost think sort of like Greek, with these large sort of pillars in the front, these runes and sort of arcane symbols engraved into them. On the lower half, there are a lot of different sort of images of and runes of sort of wizards and wizard spells and sorcerers and things like that. Almost sort of like hieroglyphic, nearly. This thing is sort of very, very tall. Very, very, very tall. The columns rising about 50 feet, and then a sort of second layer of them rising up even above that. But this place does seem to be sort of surrounded by sort of canyon walls and things like that on all sides. Snow is gathered in a lot of the middle area where you're looking around, and there is just a large sort of door at the front and these two large sort of levers on the side, almost like sort of big chain wheels on the very, very side of the door. You seem to have made it to the Arcane Library. A place very, very much off the beaten path, and a place not many people would have gone. But Thea and Celine, you guys could have swore you came from this way. Like, you remember walking past and seeing a lot of these places. But you didn't go this way. Or maybe you did, you just didn't see any of this? Very, very weird. You try not to think about it too much, as you now decide what you're about to do.
How long has it been since the bridge bit, do you think, in time?
Probably now. Near enough now, an hour has come up.
Okay, I'm going to just step away from the group a little bit, just plop Mal Shakara on the ground, move away, and she'll just zoop everything.
Shakara comes back up, and as she comes back up, just looks up to try and find you, and then looks around and, oh, you're down there now. This is strange.
Just give her a reassuring pat, and maybe lightly promise not to do that again.
Sort of shakes herself off, being a little confused. But what would you like to do?
Hey, chaps.
So there's a huge door.
A huge door. These two sort of chain wheel things on the side. You can make me a perception check to sort of have a closer look at the area. That's from where you can see sort of where you are at the minute.
Big door. It's tall.
8. 12. If anyone else would like to make a perception check, obviously can. 15. We're going up in the world.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. So,
chill.
Gylndan, you guys are sort of looking at this door and I was like, okay, this place is pretty old. If we pull those chain things, what the hell could happen? While Thea and Celine, you guys are sort of more interested in what's around. And as you sort of begin sort of going up to some of these pillars, looking around the sides of them, you realise you're not the first people here. Obviously you weren't, but probably not. But you are the first people here for quite a while. A few sort of dead bodies, skin black, frozen from the cold. Upon their faces are these sort of bronze masks, whatever. Very sort of weird, a little creepy. They are humanoid, human sort of figures. They wear very sort of old, tattered robes, some sort of leather scraps for armor and things like that. A seemingly like soldier's uniform and garb. Some of them have sort of spears in their stomachs and swords at their sides and things like that. There's not a lot of them, so it's not necessarily like an army has been through here, but you can maybe think like 3 or 4. Actually, Celine can definitely point out about sort of 4 or 5.
Other adventurers?
Well, with their like black skin, and I don't mean like black skin like sort of like dark skinned people. I mean like pitch black, it's like charcoal black skin. Bronze face masks, these sort of leather scraps or things. Definitely not anything you've seen before.
Can I make a check to see, like, if I know what these bronze masks are from?
Yeah, make me a religion or arcana check.
Can I assist her for advantage?
No.
Doesn't matter.
No bloody need. So, you know, looking at these masks, there is... And you think it's really, really weird looking at it, but actually, given Ambyr's recent history, it's not so strange. Looking at sort of this area, there are... Well, looking at these things, it recalls back to you when you read a certain book about the different planes of existence. And a lot of that is sort of, you know, they're all sort of split into chapters, and the longest chapter and the most boring and terrifying chapter is the one about the, as far as this book can tell, the 8 hells. And there is one particular realm of hell, the 8th layer of hell, that is literally just known as the Underworld. These masks are representative of the type of things that you would find there. In this place, the Underworld, it is sort of, from what obviously very little is known about it, but anyone who is unfortunate enough to have their soul taken there after death is stripped of identity and everything, and they essentially serve as slaves or craftsmen or anything for the other layers of hell. They will toil and toil for the rest of their days down there. They will serve as very sort of somewhat meek guard for some layers, some very strong, but they have these masks placed over their face, pretty much therefore meaning that they have their identity stripped from them. So they're all sort of seen as just one and the same. This is something from hell.
Right, so the masks don't represent these creatures. The masks literally denote that these are those sorts of creatures.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. That's sort of from where you've seen these masks before. Given Ambyr's recent history with a lot of demons, that could be plausible, or these masks are maybe not necessarily well known, but I mean, there's a lot of mercenary bands out there who are trying to make their way and be interesting and cool. Could have worn them, but also with the black skin, yeah, you're definitely getting underworldish vibes from all of these things. Why they're dead out here? You got no fucking clue.
Push the door.
Push the door.
There's dead around.
Sort of, sort of being a little bit confused by all this, you do take the chains, pull on the door, and as the doors open, so like you don't have to pull it a lot for the runes on the side of the sort of chains to sort of begin to slowly glow with sort of light bluish and pinkish light. As they glow, a lot of the ice and snow sort of crumbles and melts off of the chains themselves, and they begin working. And as it opens, you can see it sort of slowly opens, and then the left door just stops working entirely, and then the right door, as it's opening, a sort of front layer of stone that did have sort of carvings and things all over it, just falls off. But it seems to have opened enough, like, to get people through, but then it just stops as well. And then the chain tries to revert on itself to try and start on itself again, but it just doesn't work. Something in the machinery is stopped working. And then it starts, stops, starts, stops, starts, and when it starts the final time, you just hear this clunk as one of the huge iron sort of spikes that are keeping this door on its hinges snaps. And the right door just slams hard on the floor.
If these beings are beings that serve something else, would it stand to reason that they came here with something else? If these are kind of the lowest of the low, the servants of this underworld, is it likely that they came here with something that they serve?
I feel like it's kind of maybe a job that someone higher up gave to minions. Wouldn't necessarily want to get their own hands dirty. But then
They've scouted it out beforehand. I don't think the top person's gonna want
arrive.
round.
Okay.
But then it is the Arcane Library, which is pretty big in legend, so I don't feel like someone would be silly enough to just send minions after it. We'll see.
We'll see. You enter into this large corridor. It's a very short corridor. It's almost like, sort of like an entrance hall before opening a much smaller door into the main foyer. This small room having a large rug that's clearly just like now just tattered and torn in a lot of places. Looking around, snow has even sort of got into some elements of here, which means this door was opened at some point. Maybe not necessarily snow, but sort of water, trickled areas of sort of water damage. Looking into this place, sort of ahead of you is this door, like I said, and these large sort of glass murals over, just like up ahead, like a sort of stained glass window above where the door is, again of this figure, this wizard, with a large tome in his hand now, a long tree branch and an owl on his shoulder. You make your way in, and before you is an impossibly large room. This place is fucking massive. Sort of along sort of either side of the room there are these huge columns, literally like 20 by 20 feet huge, that seem to stretch up almost as high as the mountain that you're entering. You can't quite see the top, even with dark vision. And obviously there's no real light in here, save for you can see where an area of the roof has been broken, has crumbled down, and unfortunately collapsed over one such passageway. You can see just sort of up to your sort of left. That passageway is unfortunately no longer available to go through, as a great amount of stone and ice and things are built up over it.
Are we talking like Moria kind of thing?
Yeah, we are talking like Moria kind of huge. This is massive. This is like sort of in the Hobbit, like Erebor, huge. Ahead of you, not too far away, maybe 100 meters, is a small sort of round desk. The desk being about sort of like 5 feet tall. You can see behind it there is a large stool with nothing particularly on it. A sort of front desk, if you will. And just behind that, once again, a large statue. This one made of sort of pure solid like iron or bronze or something. And of this great sort of wizardly figure, the owl so detailed you can see every individual feather. You can see all of his sort of the strands of hair and his beard, things like that.
Is this room like just empty except from these columns and this thing in the middle? And
This portion of the place is empty. There are sort of areas of like stools and benches and things like that where people could commune and sit. Just ahead of you, between you and the area, there is a small, where you assumed was a fountain, like a sort of drinking fountain, large sort of area. You can also assume, given the pots that are there, also probably once had some kind of vegetation, but it's been God knows how long. So, who knows?
So there was a desk.
There is a desk.
I head to the desk and give it a little investigate.
Yeah, roll investigation.
Ciao. 23.
23. You head up to the desk, looking it over from where you are. You're getting sort of closer, about sort of 75 meters away. You can sort of now see that there is nothing here. There's no papers in the back. There's no anything. It's been an incredibly long time. There is still the sort of scraps of leather and sort of wooden things that many books were sort of bound to, but the paper itself is probably gone. A little closer still, you can see sort of small metal sort of nibs and things where there were potentially quills there, but the feathers have wilted away and gone. 50 meters, you can now see the sort of strain of the wood barely keeping this desk together. 25 meters, you can hear this voice. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Nathaniel. Happy birthday to me. At this point in the wailing, like the rest of you guys can hear it, like 100 meters away. A very, very strange sound. You can't see anything behind there, Gylndan. You can just hear it coming from behind the desk.
I don't know what to do here. Have you guys come with me, or am I just walking here by myself?
I'll walk as well.
Did you hear that shit?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh god, it's crying.
Oh, can I ready a Toll the Dead, please, and approach the desk?
Yeah. You walk up to the desk. Are you still sort of remaining on the back side of the desk, or are you walking round, or?
So, am I approaching the bit that's got like all the drawers in and stuff, I guess?
You're approaching this sort of as a visitor would approach a sort of front desk at the minute.
Okay.
You can sort of walk around the sides and see what's behind there, but...
No, I'll go up to the front.
Up to the front bit? You still can't see anything. It's a bit louder now, but you can't see anything. The voice is definitely coming from underneath the desk.
Okay. Can I move around and peek under the desk, please?
Yeah? You move around and peek under the desk. And under the desk, there is just this skull. Grey in colour now, whether that be from age or some strange, I don't know, tempering, you're not quite sure. There is this glowing sort of band around the temple of the skull, this sort of greenish blue band of glowing light that at the temples has these small sort of circles. And you're just looking at it like, what the fuck? Why is there just a random skull? And then you can just sort of, the skull suddenly turns around, stares you directly in the eyes. Hello. Apologies. Hello.
You work here by any chance?
Yes, could you head round the other side of the desk? This is incredibly embarrassing. Weren't expecting company. Could you just head round the other side of the desk? I'll be with you in just 1 moment.
Of course.
head around the other side of the desk. You wait there for a moment, and then you can just hear his Broom! Broom, get out here right now. I know you're around here somewhere. I know you left me like this a week ago. It's not funny. Get me up! Nothing happened for a minute. Broom, I swear to God, I will gnaw you to an inch. My teeth still work, you know, all 12 of them. Broom! And then suddenly, as Doc, you're about to say, can we help? You hear this shuffling. Just from your right, around the corner of one of these columns. And walking around the corner from one of these columns, and I do mean literally walking almost, is a broom. The broom is like you would sort of expect a sort of broom to have, so it's quite long, about 4 feet, sort of long wooden sort of shaft, a sort of cross beam, and then these long bristles down the bottom, and it seems to be pushing itself like feet on these bristles as it walks forward. Very sort of weirdly pushes itself forward. As it sort of sees you guys, it turns, slaps itself down on the floor really brutally, and then continues to walk over behind the desk, goes behind the desk. You can just hear it slap onto the floor. Ow! Careful! Lots of shuffling, moving about, and then suddenly, quick as a snap, back up to the top. The skull rattles around on the end of the broom a little while before remaining still. Ah, that's better. Hello, my name is Cathaniel. I am the library of this grand place. Can I take your names, please?
Glyndan, Althor.
Ah, strong name. Right. Well, that's the introduction. What can I help you with? Good people.
I think we all want something a bit different.
Ah, well, that's always fascinating. What is it you're all here for? Might I ask?
Well, I won't speak for two ladies here, but I was sort of summoned here, and my friend here, the dwarf, would very much like to find a certain book.
A certain book? Well, we are a very large library of information. You might have to narrow that one a little bit down.
I think he knows more about it than I do.
Dokrumir, cleric of Apollo. Did you say it was
People
Cathaniel?
are still believing in him nowadays, are they? Oh, pretty thought that would die out. No, mind.
Ouch.
Yes.
Yes, Cathaniel. I'm looking for a book on wisdom.
A book on wisdom.
Yes, to aid one's wisdom.
I think I know.
To aid one's wisdom and
I think I know what you're.
learning.
A certain Tome of Understanding of sorts.
Exactly. Yes.
Ah, yes, I know exactly the sort. We'll get you that right up, sir. Anything else anyone is particularly interested in today?
The floor to you two.
One, all of the books. Two, how to move through dimensions. Is it called dimensions? Oh, I fucking know.
Planes.
Planes of existence.
Ah, moving through planes of existence. Well, we definitely have something for that. And you, shiny. Oh, is that moonstone? Oh, I haven't seen one of you since the 3rd century. That's interesting. Very interesting. How can I help you?
I'm trying to find my way back to the Feywild.
Ah, yes, the Feywild. God, I haven't been there in so long. Is it still all on fire?
Pretty much.
Excellent. Oh, good old days in the Feywild. Well, yes, of course, I can certainly help you. I can certainly help you all. In fact, first of all, have any of you seen my heart?
No.
Interesting.
I mean, we've only just come in.
Ah, yes, that is a good point. Sorry, I haven't spoken to anyone in oh god, if it's last Sunday and today's my birthday, 57,000 years. No, got the math wrong. No. 5,700 years. Sorry.
Okay.
It's been a little while. My people skills are lacking. Tell me, actually, I won't ask that one. That's a little too crude. Or is it? Anyway, I would be glad to show you around these parts, but unfortunately, certain little critters around these places are rather annoying, and I obviously can't hold my own heart. Would one of you mind just taking it with us as we go? I'd rather know it's safe.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Could you also find it? Broom, I know you've hidden it somewhere. You've hidden it. The broom just... he's a terrible hider, obviously. He's a fucking broom. Try behind one of the columns or whatever. Small little thing. Weighs barely nothing.
Can I sort of wonder if in the direction the broom came from and just like cast my eyes around, see if I can find anything that looks like a disembodied head's heart?
Yeah, you walk around this exact column, and funnily enough, you do find a shriveled up, grey, covered in dust bit of sort of... It's sort of like a potato, but shriveled up like a raisin. But much like his head, it's got this dim sort of light inside, this small little light, greenish blue, that's sort of very, very dimly glows. It doesn't beat anymore, it is just still, obviously. But it does have this sort of light that does pulse like a heartbeat.
JJ, you can add +1 to your rations.
So yes, if you'd like to take his heart. You found it, Broom. That was a terrible hiding place. I'll get you next time. Anyway, off we go. Fortunately, all of your questions can be found in the same wing. So...
That's convenient.
That is rather convenient, isn't it? Would everyone like to go on a bit of an adventure then?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Let's be... Broom begins walking. As Broom is walking, the skull rattles on top of the thing. It falls off several times, but this skull seems durable. Cathaniel seems somewhat durable as he lands and thuds on the floor. Broom shuffles back.
Is that comfy for you? Would you like one of us to carry you instead of Broom,
That-
was it?
Hmm? Yes, Broom. Broomy. The Broom Master.
No disrespect to the Broommeister, he just doesn't seem...
Yes, if you would be helpful, tell me, have you ever had anything in the back of your skull? It's rather uncomfortable. Doesn't leave a lot of room for thought.
Spinal cord?
That's rough, man.
Oh, show off! Why don't you? Oh, yes, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay, I will carry...
Are you double teaming here? Heart and head.
You
How are you spelling Nathaniel, by the way, Ben?
Kith and then annual like Nathaniel, but
Nathaniel.
Kithaniel. Yes.
Right.
As you are travelling down, he insists you call him Kit.
No.
Anyway, continuing your way down, you pass halls and hallways filled with bookshelves, but no books, weirdly. And he explains a little bit. So, I bet you're all wondering, what type of library is this that doesn't have books? Well, let me tell you. Around 7,000 years ago, this library was constructed. And it stood the test of time for about sort of 1,000 years or so. Different people coming in and out and having different owners and things like that. And this was a rather large success. But unfortunately, certain members of the magical society decided, well, the magic should be kept for them. Especially with things going in the capital, that ruddy college being built. Is that college still up, by the way?
Yes.
Is
It's doing very well.
any there? Any mention at all? Any mention of a Nathaniel at all there?
A Nathaniel? No.
Ah, bastards! You know, I'm the brick of that fucking college, and what thanks do I goddamn get for it? Anyway, as I was saying, with the Wizard College and everything going up, and all the clans of Ambyr finally deciding to pull out their panties and join as one, la-di-da-di-da. Well, this place sort of fell into a lot of rivalry, really. What clan really got the right to this place, and what land really got the right to this place, and what wizard of what clan would be the owner, and people just kept stealing books, and over time, people just went to the college. People found that if you go to the college, you learn enough to be able to dazzle the masses with your magic, and the true exploration and wonderment of the arcane was lost. And so was this place, but not me. Oh no, I had to agree to be the fucking janitor, didn't I? I mean librarian. I had to agree to be the librarian. And here I am. Still. Well, be careful who you make deals with. They're funny fellows. Anyway, and as he's telling us, the librarian of the time that let's just say in life I wasn't the tallest fellow. 3 feet. Halfling I was. They used to laugh at me. I wasn't particularly amazing at magic. Found bardic specialities more to my liking. What a bard seen as cruel now? Did they finally get their time in the spotlight?
What, bards?
Yes.
I'm afraid we don't know many.
Ah, well, that's rather sad. Anyway, it's yes. And unfortunately, the librarian at the time was, well, as you can probably imagine, a necromancer. Of course, they always fucking are necromancers. And when I signed on, I stupidly said, well, as long as this heart beats, I'll be here. And there it is, still fucking beating. Anyway.
Do you enjoy this? Or is it some sort of eternal hell for you?
Do I enjoy being in a large hall that once was filled with books but is now just filled with my only friend, a broom? Well, yes, it's rather lovely, I think. I get to see it and me go, what the hell do you think?
So you wouldn't be opposed to coming with us then when we left? You must know quite a lot of things, being the librarian for so long.
Well, yes, of course, but unfortunately the bastard also meant that I couldn't leave this place. You see, I officially died here. I am somewhat tied to this place for eternity, hence why I'm still here. I mean, even as a skull I can move, I could just move my jaw like, or I could have got a broom to get me out for me. But no, that bastard decided to keep me here forever. Oh, well, the joke's on them. I probably know more about magic than they'll ever fucking know, the dead bastards. But I'm fine. I'm over it, really. I'm absolutely fine.
Okay, new mission, guys.
Shall we continue?
Free kit. I'm doing this entire side quest to make a new one.
It's just down this way. And he points, sort of trying to point with his jaw, which almost like dislocates the way you're sort of pointing it in your mouth. And he heads you down over these long bridges, and you can see the epic grandeur of this place as you keep just going further and further. And every time you go through this, like, just double door, you think, okay, well, now we'll finally get to this place. No, you get to another huge section. And continuing along, and continuing your way down, eventually you come to a set of doors. Ah, here we are, yes. I have to ask, are you with the other one? Are you?
No.
Ah, right.
Who else is here?
Horns, red skin, creepy men with weird masks and stuff. You're not like late to the party or anything, are you?
No, they were outside. Thea said they looked very dead, like thousands of years. Was it thousands of years? A long time dead. Long time dead.
Oh, yes. I don't know what that's about. I just know about a week ago a man came in here. Oh, maybe I have spoken to someone since then. Oh, good for me. Anyway, yes, about a week ago a man came in here demanding I tell him where certain areas were. Just wanted to know if you were with him. Never mind.
He's still here?
I don't know, really. Maybe he came and left when I was asleep. Or maybe he left when I was asleep. He came when I was awake. Was I awake? When am I awake? Never mind. Not enough time to get into that.
What was he looking for?
Gosh, he was looking for answers. He said he was from somewhere called the Underworld, which through my time I know a little about. There's a little about the sort of hellish fiends and the things in our many, many tomes here. And he said he was here to find out how to bring his master here. Wanted to bring something here, anyway. Said he was...
Unless this is Tiamat, I feel like we've stumbled on a whole nother bad guy.
he too was summoned by someone or something, similar to what you said.
Oh boy.
Anyway, just through this door, and then you are on the correct wing. I could wait out here for you, or unless you wanted my expertise in certain areas.
Oh, absolutely.
How big's the wing? Yeah.
What would happen? Have you tried to leave? What would happen if you like clawed or jawed your way across the threshold?
Well, there was another one of us. It wasn't always just me, and well, after about sort of a year or two, she got pretty bored of being trapped in here while everyone else was out living life. She decided to leave, and unfortunately she remained as particles of dust. She passed the threshold and turned to dust. So I would say that was a pretty good incentive for me to stay. Yes, and then obviously the decomposition of my entire physical form also prevented me from leaving somewhat. But hey, here I am.
You're happy here on your own?
Somewhat. Anyway, let's. Yes. Let us continue. And you head through these large doors. Through the doors is a sort of fairly round room of books, lots and lots of books, and a spiral staircase leading up. After a brief look through these books, nothing particularly interesting, arcane tomes of biographies and certain things like that, nothing particularly interesting, you manage to head up to a certain larger room, somewhat, and I'll stick you on the map here.
You know what a map means.
So, you all would sort of end up at the top of these stairs, if you wanted to drag yourselves onto there. Chikara, I mean, would Chikara be able to fit? She could definitely walk up those stairs. Completely forgot Chikara.
Chikara comes into some places she probably shouldn't come into.
Chikara, by the way, through this entire time is just like looking around like, ooh, this place is big.
It's huge. She's wondering if she's a mouse again.
He said he wouldn't do that.
As you approach this sort of it's like you get up and you can see this one flickering flame in the center of the room. Cathaniel immediately then says, "Oh, bastards. Yes, when a lot of people left all those years ago, they decided to put certain things in place to make sure that no one took what wasn't rightfully theirs when they said they were coming back for a lot of this stuff, but evidently they never really did. A lot of it just clutter nowadays. Anyway, yes, it appears something is amiss here. Arcane puzzle, something they knew the answer to, so other people wouldn't necessarily be able to get in, get what's further ahead. If you, I don't know, like to look around. I guess I've personally never really been in here. Wasn't very interested, and also this doesn't happen every time you go into some place. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
What does the this protection stop us from doing?
Advancing! Do you see a door out of here? This unfortunately isn't the whole wing, it's not this depressing.
Okay.
This is part of the wing, admittedly, but not the whole thing. And as you would look around, the immediate thing you notice, sort of walking up, is the grandeur of this column here. To which it says, let me just sort of bring that in. I don't know where it is. It should be on GM info, but it's not. So, I will have to read it aloud. So, upon the side of this column, engraved, reads a specific message. Offer to the flame a specific scroll. You may get closer to completing your goal. On a certain time, a phenomena is found. It becomes smaller when turned upside down. I never was, am always to be. No one ever has or will see me. And yet I am the confidence of all to live and breathe on this material ball.
A riddle!
It would appear so.
It has anything to do with these symbols on the floor?
Yes, so obviously, so all of these are obviously bookshelves.
Hmm.
There are many of these symbols on the ground.
Can you put that in the chat, Ben? Is that easy for you to do, or have you written it?
No, I can put it all in the chat for you, yeah. Let me just Control-C, Control-V. Offer to the flame a specific scroll, and on the bookshelves and stuff there are many different scrolls, books, tomes, things like that. You may get closer to completing your goal. On this time, a phenomena is found. It becomes smaller when turned upside down. I never was, I'm always to be. No one ever has or will see me, and yet I am the confidence of all to live and breathe on this material ball.
Okay, so looking around, we've got the numbers that look like, we've got Roman numerals 1 to 12. We've got what also looks like the phases of the moon. If you turn a Roman numeral upside down, for example 11, it then becomes 9. So it gets smaller. It never was, no always will be. No one will ever see me. So we've got the phases of the moon. No one will ever see me. Potentially refers to the dark side of the moon. So I reckon we're potentially looking at...
How is that the confidence of all, though?
And yet I am the confidence of all. I don't know, I can't reconcile that with anything that I'm seeing at the moment.
Oh, you can
These symbols on the floor seem to pertain to something. We've got what looks like a lute, a battle axe, a book, a bear's paw.
An owl? Or a bird of some sort?
Yeah, a sword and shield.
That strikes me as divination, that symbol next to sword and shield.
Yeah.
Or some sort of divination. Or arcana.
Got a bow, 2 crossed daggers.
Oh, who's that? Who goes there?
That is
Oh, okay, hi. Oh.
just turns around. Oh, who goes there? It's me. Oh, yeah.
So, 12 phases of the moon, numbers 1 to 12. 12 different classes?
That's what I was thinking. But are there 12 classes?
What are the classes then? Ranger,
So you've got
barbarian.
bard, cleric, druid, fighter. So you've got barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, sorcerer, warlock, wizard. Okay.
I mean, who's the most confident? Probably a bard.
Becomes smaller and turn upside down. On this on this type, the phenomenon is found. It becomes smaller when turned upside down. So what turning something upside down can't be 1 to 3 because they'll remain the same.
Hmm.
4 to 8 no longer makes sense when you turn it upside down because it's no longer a V.
So would any of the V's make sense then? So can we discount all of them?
So I think the only one that makes sense in terms of this specific number is 11 and 9, which when you turn them upside down, they reverse.
Yeah.
So we're potentially looking for bookshelf 11. But what we need from that shelf...
I never was, am always to be. No one ever has or will see me.
Yeah.
And yet I'm confident of all, to live and breathe.
So, I don't know if that's... I never was, I'm always to be, no one has ever or will see me, and yet I'm the confidence of all. Future? I mean, you never see the future, and it's always to be, but you have confidence in it, don't you? You can plan ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the answer, but it fits a little bit.
Do any of these things, like, move? Like, these bookshelves or anything like that, they appear to be, like, the pattern on the floor. Again, I don't know if it's just a map or if it's
Yeah,
a physical thing.
that's just a pattern. They unfortunately do not move.
Okay, so they're not, like, on a track or anything, and we can, like, spin them to align them with any of these other symbols.
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Which symbol do you think's a wizard?
I think the book must be a wizard.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, then bard to the right.
Yeah, you can determine obviously book wizards need spell books.
Yeah, and then bard to the right, and then what to the right of that? Artifact.
My guess. Holy. I mean, it's like a fire, like holy fire and a sword.
Yeah.
Unless that's a mace.
Okay, so let's say paladin, and then what? Next one.
I don't know.
That's a weird one. But ranger and rogue at the bottom.
Yeah.
You say monk. You say monk for the palm.
Could be, yeah.
Fighter for shield and sword. Owl? Unless it's not an owl. And then barbarian druid.
I'll say it's not an owl. It is a sort of fortress style thing with wings.
Artificer.
Okay, so I reckon that's and then fighter, monk, ranger, rogue.
Also, to clear something up to somewhat help you, this one here looks like some kind of strange eldritch symbol.
Which one?
This one here, right in front of Gylndan.
Can't
Oh, me,
see
okay.
you-
In front of
you're looking on
Glyndon.
the map, I can't see it.
Oh, I'm on the wrong layer.
The one by Glyndon.
The one by Gylndan. Seems like some kind of strange eldritch symbol that you might have seen.
So that's warlock, if that's eldritch. Which would leave number 3 to be sorcerer?
Uh,
Oh, hang on, where's cleric?
Yeah, you've said artificer, but that's...
Artifice is not a base of the class, is it?
I think that one's cleric.
Yeah, including Artificer, there's 13 classes, not 12.
Shit. So what's the one at number 3 then?
Number 3 is a mace with a strange sort of arcane things.
Number 2 looks like a mace.
are you going from the book? Or
I'm going off what the
12.
numbers-
Right,
corresponding.
you're going off the corresponding things. Right, so
Yeah.
number 3, Fear,
It
or
looks kind of like a big eye.
Glyndon, you can make an Arcana check.
I mean, you smashed this last time, so go for it.
No.
Ah!
Too enthralled in trying to find the puzzle.
Get in the
But
bin.
Glyndon sort of comes up and does manage to recognise that as a symbol of naturally occurring magic.
Okay, yeah.
A sorcerers then.
So then, like a winged shield, is that cleric then? I mean, it's the only one that makes...
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So you need to offer up a scroll to the thing. You think you got the number. Never was and always to be. No one ever has or will see me. And yet I am the confidence of all.
Can I go
living-
investigate these scrolls, Ben?
Yeah, of
What
course.
sort, are they like spell scrolls? Or
Well, make an investigation check. There are many
Which is big
different
garbage.
scrolls.
Yeah, that's not great.
I'll say it takes you a fair bit of time, but you are able to find a few evidence of different spell scrolls, but not just spell scrolls, but also like books from wizards, different wizards who have lived, different wizards, evocation wizards, conjuration, divination, illusion, things like that, as well as different spell scrolls, some of which you know, some of which you don't. For example, there's like a spell scroll of Magic Missile, which is a pretty feeble spell scroll to have. There's also one of the spell, like you found before, Augury.
Is divination there?
Yeah, like I said, divination is potentially there.
See, I never was. I'm always to be. Gives me future vibes.
To live and breathe on this material ball just sounds like a reference to Earth. And it says a specific scroll, so... It doesn't look like we need multiple.
So we're pretty certain it's a scroll. We're pretty certain we're looking at this one because it's the only number.
Yeah,
When turned upside down is lower.
yeah,
So it's more that last bit of the riddle, really.
yeah. No one ever has or will see me, yet I am the confidence ball to live and breathe on this material ball. You have found many different spell scrolls of different things. The first ones you found are one of divination, augury, as well as one of like magic missile. There's one of shield, abjuration, which is like protective magic. Divination obviously being sort of seeing the present and the future. Evocation being creating something from nothing, often used in arcane combat.
So what relevance do the classes have then? Or is it just decorative?
I don't know, or is it just decorative?
Because so if we're looking at the one that lines up with the shelf I'm at, it's barbarian. What use does that have?
Why happens
Nothing.
if you pick up a scroll and bring it towards it? Does anything...
I'll pick up the divination scroll and
does
take it towards the flame.
any of
Yeah.
these symbols react in any way as you bring it closer?
No. Nothing really reacts as you bring it closer to the fire.
So I've got divination scroll in my hand.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at the guys. I'm going to say, do you want me to try this?
You want to burn? Just no.
I don't want to burn it. However, I don't want to be stuck in here forever. It says offer to the flame. It might not burn it. Might be a magical flame.
Yeah, but what if it's the wrong one?
Well, then we're a bit buggered. I don't know what else it could be. So the last two lines, are they linked? And yet I'm the confidence of all to live and breathe on this material ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people need it to survive. Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't
It copied it
see
over
the
very
future.
No.
Or like, because the future is it's always when it arrives, it's the present.
Mm.
And you yourself have said that your visions are changeable; they're not set in stone.
Mm. But is the future the confidence of all to live and breathe? I guess so, yeah, because it's what gets you from day to day, isn't it? The fact that you'll get to the next day.
Yeah.
I'm tossing it in.
You toss it in.
Yep.
You place the spell scroll into the fire. Slowly burns and withers away. The symbols on the ground morph and change and spin, and so do the bookcases. They spin round and around and around, making the area all around it like Gylndan. Like you have to move out of the way back into the center to sort of get out of the way of all of them spinning round and round and round, faster and faster and faster, until eventually they stop back exactly the place that they were. But now instead of blank walls around you, there is a door that appears just
Way.
above the 12.
There we go.
There we go. I did slightly worry that the classes would throw you off a little bit too much, but I love the map, so I stuck with it.
It is cool.
Congratulations, you completed one of the trials.
Oh.
But
That's not it.
But as this door sort of like shifts open, you look behind you, and suddenly emerging from this flame, in a very unnatural way for all this. This place is beautiful. It's not decrepit and old like much of the other rooms. It has somewhat magically, like you said, this place, places like this don't really happen all the time. A trial like this doesn't sort of take place all the time to get you from one place to the next. So this place has been pristinely thinged, and yet this dark sort of cloud emerges from the flame, and from its head, from the sort of cloud, you see a head and sort of shoulders of a being holding these two sort of strange. What's it called? Almost like those Egyptian. I don't know.
Like pharaohs?
Arax.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, those strange sort of rods with sort of symbols on them appears. Whatever the creature is, he has a skull over his head that almost looks like a goat, but a bit bigger. It's got a slightly longer snout, and there's fangs at the very end of the mouth. Creature takes off the mask slowly, and appearing underneath it is a red-skinned creature, very sharp features, a short sort of grey beard, spiraling horns like that of a ram, and appearing sort of with flame around him. Ah, the first of my followers to arrive. Welcome. Welcome. I know you are here to pay homage to me, of course. But please, I am still performing
the ritual. My master will be here soon. I do not recognize you from my usual flock. Who are you?
No followers of yours, sir.
No, let's hear what the man has to say. Who are you? Just keep like getting Glyndan like, don't piss off the weird fire looks.
I am Arcanaloth.
You're gonna have to spell that.
Literally, Arcana Loth.
Cool, thank you.
I am great Arcanaloth of the Underworld. I'm sure you must have heard of me. The great siege of Balthor. The great arcane fiends of Desween. Do you not? Or are you merely interferers? Interceptors of my plan? No.
Passing through, just it's cool. Don't worry. Interfere. You do you. I'll do me. No.
X. You. Demon spawn. I like you. The Master will show great kindness to you when he is here.
That's quite rude. I'd like you to take that back. Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay.
But
It's like talking to the elderly.
you will not have to wait long until a new age of this world is to come. The great Master will arrive shortly. Wait.
Stares down, Glyndon, at you. And then over at Dok. And then over at you again.
I've seen you.
You've seen the play.
Great vision before. A great being brought me here. She warned me of intruders such as yourself. Well, we will see. My master, the great Eberos.
Not interested. Not interested.
Immediately, you guys know Eberos as god of the underworld, god of hell, and god of darkness. He is generally, essentially, death in Ambyr.
Well, I've met him.
Who the hell are you pissed off? Who are we with?
Yeah, we didn't really get to that, did we?
No.
Wait long, my master.
Ross, it's fine. He's cool. He's not.
You have met,
He's great.
you have met my master.
Yeah, he appeared to me once. Told me I was a top pick.
He must see something in you. That is why you must be here. As for the rest of you,
We'll be on our way.
You will be dealt with in due time.
And slowly, the fiend morphs back into the flame, closing himself back, and the room remains as it was. Very strange.
Yeah, so Eberos, Not a top bloke.
Why the hell
It
do
sounds
you know
bad.
demon goatmen?
I've not met him before. I'm a cleric. I deal with gods all the time. It's a little above your pet.
We're in a very specific line of work, Dok and I. A little bit of god slaying here and there. What have you done this week?
Yeah, just last week I was fighting a spider god. How about you?
I've killed lots of undead too. Yeah, we're all these people making up their weird stories.
You've killed. Oh, they don't probably you go like this and they go away. Sometimes, if they fail, they say
fake
through.
little stories, boy.
Oh,
Today.
look. This is not. I don't know. I don't know why this guy's mad at us, but this doesn't have to be your fight if you don't want it to be.
I just
Okay, cool.
The books. That's all I'm here for.
I will fight through the god of death just to read some books.
Yes.
I respect. Books are cool.
At this point, Cathaniel just goes, so,
Daniel, this doesn't sound like a good thing to be happening in the library. It doesn't sound like he respects the books.
I will admit, I have looked over this library for about 800 years now, and no, never before seen a red man with goat horns.
Was that the guy that came in earlier?
Yes! Oh, you're a smart
Memory
one.
needs work.
Well, you did that. Pretty incredible.
He's a skull.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. Every day here seems to just mold into the next one when you're staring underneath a desk and sort of he slightly shifts Dok, sort of like in wherever you've got him, to just stare at Broom, who's still following you and is now sort of hidden behind one of the bookshelves. Almost shaking.
Greatest of us all.
It's his heart.
He's keeping it safe because he loves him.
What's safe about the floor?
Broom tries, okay? Broom may be shit at his job, but he tries.
Broom shuffles his way over to Dok. Like,
Yes, I now hold the heart, the head, and the broom. By the end of this, I will have all 5 pieces of Exodia.
Dok, you're getting a bit ranty there. Come back to it.
Version where instead of it being like all 9 pieces of 8, it's all 9 pieces of whatever we happen to have in our pockets at the time. For a broom, a skull, a desiccated heart.
anyway, what are you all doing?
To the door and quickly.
To the door and quickly. You rush over to the door. You move through a sort of smaller corridor and make it into, what am I putting in this? A very dimly lit but quite large room ahead of you. In here, weirdly, is the literal skeleton of a dragon.
Oh.
That is very clearly dragon. Lining the walls are bookshelves and bookcases. Dim sort of candle-like flickers overhead. And at the very end of the room, you suddenly see this mist sort of seep in from a door at the very end. Walking slowly out is a very gaunt figure. Tall, about 7 feet tall. Long sort of arms, claws at the end. Bare-chested with these sort of metal rings around his arms. A long sort of draping robe from his waist down. Completely black. It is the same figure as you saw before. Mist at his feet. Just, you continue to persist. Well, pulls a tome from behind him with... He doesn't look very muscly. He looks fairly sort of like feeble but fairly toned. But this book is quite large. Sort of arcane symbols over the end. Flicks the book open.
Let's test out what I have found here.
Raises a hand. And from certain points in the room as well, lighting up, like sort of lightning within red mist, slowly appears. And glinting in the light, all around you, are bronze masks. Very dark figures. Warriors. Sort of on each of them. And if it is there, we will roll some initiative. Probably do like first round of combat before calling it there for the day.
I'm going to put a good amount of gold on Abby going first. Maybe not. We have a little thing, Abby, that JJ always rolls, even though we've got the same, he's got slightly higher dex than me, he always goes first over me. It's very occasionally. I managed to get
Even like the time I rolled a 5, Sam then rolled a 4.
So, 1. Oh no. 2. 3. You can see how prepared I was for this. That I got all the things on the map.
Oh, it's fine, Ben. In our last session, I definitely wasn't putting things on the GM layer to reveal later on while you guys were solving puzzles.
Oh, totally not. Totally not. Nope. Never happens. Never happens. One thing I will say is that this guy is like that. And I will say, for the benefit of me not finding a good enough, actually no, I do have a token for him. I completely forgot about that. Let me just.
I think Dok and Celine, you take out these people, and Thea and I will take on Arcanoloth in a good old book battle.
Good old book battle.
Can you spell anti-disestablishmentarianism?
Only after a drink or two.
So, let's have a look at these initiative rolls. And let me roll some of my own.
Ooh, Chikara.
You can't open your character sheet. That is very, very weird. Let me make sure that it is.
No, it's just not the options.
Congratulations, Doc. You're faster than a lumbering elephant.
Senior military high.
Or slower than a lumbering elephant.
It was like open this.
Yeah, of course. Alright, so.
Just asking for a friend. Do you think if Chikara hits the dragon skeleton hard enough, the tailbone will go through that first guy?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. 30. So, first up we have. Oh! No. Alright, so.
That's one of them then.
And then we have. Celine. Then we have. Chikara. Then we have. No. I got that wrong. Here. Celine. Chikara. Dok. Boom. That's the initiative order.
Is this how we've walked into this room, by the way? As like a block of 4?
I just put you on the map. You can place yourselves wherever you.
Where have we come in from?
So you've come in from just down here.
Okay.
I will say as well, this isn't an exit.
Okay.
It is on the map, but it's not in the thing. So yeah, you can place yourself sort of wherever. I just love the thought of this elephant walking through the library with you. I mean, technically it would fit.
You've described everything as enormous, so it works.
No, it is pretty enormous. Unfortunately, it is big guy's turn first.
Of course.
and he is going to use his full turn and then go,
Ah, that seems to have worked. I wonder, what about this?
and from the ground, clenches his fist, and with a lot of effort, this Glyndon seems to you like more than a spell. His tome is literally, as he pulls his hand up, the tome literally has like smoke and billowing flame erupt from it, just for a brief second. And then you hear this grumble, this growl, rising from the mist.
Oh, I actually realise as well what this is.
Like or something. And making its way up first slowly, but then pouncing out of this mist is
Oh, that's not what I thought it was
a
going to be.
very, very large. What did you think it was going to be?
I thought he was going to bring the dragon to life.
I was looking at my spells like, what can I do to animate skeleton?
Unfortunately not, but he does bring this huge
I've got 3 heads.
3-headed hound
Hey,
in the room. This hound looks very, very strong, gnashing sort of mouth. It looks at the these sort of fiends, the ones in the masks, and then it looks at the Arcanoloth, and it sort of almost respects them, almost recognizing them from where it's from, and then turns, like sniffs in the air. One of their heads turns to you, almost beckoning the others to go do the same. So that's his turn. And then these guys can do a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and they're going to roll some hits. So the first one, you can see he sort of looks down at his hand, plumes of fire begin to bellow from his palm, and rolls a 11. I'm assuming that doesn't hit Celine. The green one is going to do the exact same thing. A natural 1, that also doesn't help the situation. But the other one, I think, is going to do something a little bit different. And that different thing is going to be what happens now. What does he have? 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 He has that. Shit. Just 1 second. I should have had this prepared beforehand. It is within range, so he's going to. Alright, so we've got Dok, 21. I'm assuming hits. That hits. I think he's going to make it fire. And you begin to see he, in his hands, forms one could say, a chromatic orb in his hands. And throws it out. So it's 5, 9, 12 fire damage on you, Dok.
I'm already not having fun.
As you are hit. And that's pretty much it for these guys. Next up is Gylndan.
none of these attacks hit Celine, but I'm going to thank her for being a fantastic meat shield. And then seeing as all these chappos have lined up beautifully, I'm going to fireball all of them.
Alright, there you go. Fireball. Roll for fireball.
And watch them all have fire resistance. Cha. 23, that's dreadful.
23, that's not good, but do they pass or do they fail? Orange fails. Green passes. Blue fails. Where the fuck did my dice go? There it went. And red Also fails. So that was green path, but basically everyone else failed. But as you watch the fire erupt over them, you do notice that being people of a place called the Underworld, erupting from flaming sort of mist, yes, they do have some kind of fire resistance. So that 23 actually turns to a 12? No, 11.
Boo. Big boo.
Big Boo's hand.
Boo.
But that one turns to a 5. Were you hitting the Cerberus as well?
Sure.
I think you can hit him.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
20 for ready, so you can-
He also failed to save, so that is an 11.
Never had such a good pass-fail ratio go in my favour for people that have resistance to the damage type.
Yes, unfortunately, that is sometimes the way. Next up, is that everything on your turn?
How much damage did it do to the Cerberus? Half again.
Again, the Cerberus did seem somewhat resistant to the flame that poured over it from a fireball.
Okay. I'm going to cast Althor's All-Seeing Eye, so everyone gets a +4 when they want it. It's a bonus
Excellent.
action. And then I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm going to go here.
Cool! Yeah, the rest of this round quick. I'm aware it's 10 o'clock. So, Thea, what would you like to do?
I'm going to cast Blink.
You're going to what, sorry?
I'm cast Blink.
Blink! Alrighty. Roll a d20 at the end of each of your turns. For the duration of the spell, on a roll of 11 or higher, you vanish from the current plane of existence and appear in the ethereal plane. Spell fails, and the casting is wasted if you're already on this plane and started. Your next turn, when the spell ends, if you are on the ethereal plane, you return to an unoccupied space at your choice that you can see within 10 feet of the space you vanished from. No unoccupied space is available. Within that range, you appear in the unoccupied space. You can dismiss this as an action on the ethereal plane. Yeah, cool.
So you're just exiting then. That's cool.
Cast Blink, so
Cool.
at the end of your turn. So I'm assuming Blink now happens now, and then at the end of your turn, you roll to see whether you're still in there.
You roll a d20 at the end of.
Oh no! So at the end,
your turn.
yeah. So at the minute, you cast something on yourself. No idea what, but you cast something on yourself. And then at the end of your turn. So is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I'll probably just move a bit just to get. I'll just go here. Why not?
You're not on the ethereal plane yet.
And then would you like to roll a d20?
Well.
11. You go to the ethereal plane. Fortunately not. You, performance anxiety, being in front of new people. Unfortunately this turn, you remain where you are.
You're trying really hard though.
You tried really, really hard to leave, but unfortunately, just not happening. Next up is Celine. Celine.
I'm assuming he's at least 5.
5 feet. Yes. Gonna move there. Alright.
I know all the things I can do.
You can summon your Echo Knight as a bonus action. You can attack by throwing
Oh, okay, no, that's interesting.
hand axes.
There's a bonus to that to summon.
It is indeed.
And I can move it 30 feet.
And then you can, so you summon it anywhere within 30 feet of you. It can move 30 feet and attack when you take the attack action. Or you can attack from its space.
Unleash enchantment, that's the thing where I can attack from.
Yeah. So you're bringing in an Echo Knight?
I'm going to bring in an Echo Knight.
Gonna bring in an Echo Knight. So you guys watch as very, very suddenly, I'll get a slightly better token to represent it as an Echo Knight, but for the minute, we will use that to represent the Echo-ness, the different one. You get me. That is other Celine.
It doesn't look exactly as Celine. I won't explain who it is, but she has a very strong resemblance to Celine.
Where are you summoning?
But it isn't identical.
You can now control
it's from 15, isn't it?
Yeah. You can now move it wherever you want.
Right there.
Summon it there.
If
Just sort of underneath that.
Can I switch? Is switching places with it an action? Or?
No, it costs 15 feet of your movement to do.
Oh, I've used my movement. That's
And you
fine.
unfortunately used that. You can attack from its space.
I was just going to throw my sword and I've used my bonus action. If I attack from its space, do I still get the thing that it attacks?
You can do that, yeah.
Or is that a thing I have to explain? It's too much stuff.
So essentially
I
it
thought that
just
happened
happens.
anyway, yeah.
It doesn't happen every single time, but you can just choose for it to happen as part of the attack.
What thing was it?
What thing was what?
About my echo attack.
That's Unleashing Con.
No, that's the thing where I get extra attack.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
You know the thing where if I attack, my echo attacks.
Yeah, that's Unleashing Con. So when you attack, your echo gets a free attack on your turn.
Oh, you take the attack action you can do.
An extra attack from your thing position.
Oh, well, you said that was the thing where I get additional.
What do you reckon?
Oh, extra attack.
Yeah.
These are concentration based.
Right, so
Yeah.
right, so when I asked you about Alicia Carnage, you
Don't think so.
Yeah.
He said it, the way Ben phrased it, not to
Great attack.
cheat it too much. It
Oh,
sounded
right.
like an ability.
Right, sorry.
Right,
Paige.
okay.
More like you
Yeah,
summoned it from this tome or something.
In that case,
I don't. My only worry is he's going
Right,
to keep
right.
summoning, and then we're going to get overwhelmed.
And then you.
Yeah, I'll say so.
But he's a long way off. I think.
So, roll to hit.
Close to them.
Are you going to try banishing them, like with the symbol?
Banishment at the moment.
Ah, there we go. No, then.
Unfortunately, that does not hit, as you are summoned within this space, and you try and sort of stab at this one, but he pulls his own spear in the way, knocks it aside. You can attack again.
Oh, how many attacks do I get from that?
Naturally, you get 3,
Oh,
and then you get 1 from your thing space. If you want.
sorry, extra. Ooh,
Okay. So, would you like to hit again?
yeah.
Okay. So roll to hit 2 more times.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, can I use my radiant breath from my echo?
Yeah, you can.
It's an
You are
15.
essentially in that space at the minute, so. Yeah,
Can I
you
do
can
that to hit like all 3 of them?
Oh,
Yep.
JJ Jakara is 5 feet off that one. That
So,
Celine's attacking.
first one.
Carry it 5 feet closer on my turn.
That was an awful.
Little shove.
It's a push.
Roll.
There you go. A push start.
I know the DC they have to make against it. 13. That's pretty good. So, unfortunately, this one passes, so he takes half. So he takes 7, 18 being one closest to you. But the other 2 fail, so they take full 17 damage. That's got 28.
Hot damn.
3. As you guys watch, as something lighting up this part of the room is just a thing of radiant breath, in a sort of cone from Celine. And you have one more attack as part of your standard extra.
What? Level 11 fighter.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Hey, crit. I'm assuming this is on the orange one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so roll damage.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things about the Dragon Ball from Fifth Their attacks with their breath weapon as well.
They can. So
Yeah,
that
which one's
is,
with one hand and one?
18.
Swinging a sword, breathing
uh,
fire on people.
I think, a D8. The one on the right is the two-handed one. Are you doing two-handed or one-handed? One-handed. So that is, got 18 damage.
Is it dead?
It is. It's not dead. Yeah. So you've seen Celine sort of form this other version of her, and then sort of shift briefly. You've just seen the shift in the air. She's attacked once. This thing blocked it away. But as part of the sort of same movement, she turns around, unleashes this cone of radiance all over the rest of them. The one next to her, taking its time to sort of prepare against the attack, comes back and just this wallop straight from the trident slashes straight through, unfortunately killing this guy.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for me, I spent a lot of time on that stat block. I didn't. I spent 5 minutes. Anything else in your turn? You've done your bonus action. Actually, no, there's nothing else you can do unless you want to do your
Does it kind of do the thing in my
Unleashing Comet. Yeah. So now you transfer back to yourself for your think and make an attack. So roll the hit with your trident once more. Out of 19 hits, roll the damage. That's 13 damage. Actually, no, you can't do that because it's not next to anything anymore. Because obviously it's died.
Oh, can I throw it?
Oh, you could throw it. In which case, yeah, which one are you throwing at? Red or green?
I've no idea what's going on, but I'm loving it. There's just damage everywhere. Damage.
Echo's trident cast separate from mine, so would I have to call that back separately?
Yes. So you would... No. I would say your Echo's one... Oh god, yeah. Throwing a weapon from an Echo's position, that's okay. Okay. You make a ruling that if you throw a weapon from your Echo's position on the next turn, you just get it back.
Okay.
Or at least your Echo gets it back.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
To speed things along. So
That's
which
a
one?
nifty trident.
Blue. Hits blue. For 13. You don't get that because you didn't roll a crit. That was just extra damage from. If you rolled with advantage, you would have had a hit. Because that's if you rolled with advantage, you would have got a crit. Ergo.
Oh, I see.
3.
Okay.
So 13 damage. And fortunately, I think he's still up. So. And that is everything you can do. Chikara.
It's just gonna move here and prep a charge. Just gonna stamp a hoof. It's a hoof, whatever.
Stamp a foot.
She's gonna stamp a foot and she's prepping a charge.
Prepping a charge. And Dok.
Well, I was going to do a thing, and then it occurred to me I actually wanted to save that for something else. So I'm going to rush 5, 10, 15, 20 feet in here and cast Spiritual Weapon.
Spiritual Weapon. Or guns. At level 4.
Oh boy.
Lordy.
And then, yeah, can you bring out the beast?
I got actions.
Sorry.
You do.
Oh,
So. That would be. Oh yeah, controlled by you, so it's fine. Where are you putting it?
Put it in that square there. Can you explain the difference visually between sort of green and blue for me?
So between green and blue, so green and red both have their spears sort of at the ready.
Yeah.
Blue doesn't have his spears at the ready, but from his hands are almost like just smoking with this sort of like necrotic energy and almost magic. And you've seen him cast a spell towards you guys. You can assume that's somewhat him having some magical power.
Damn.
I'm going to go for blue then. With spiritual weapon.
Oh boy.
My estimate's got higher.
Yeah, definitely hits. Roll damage.
Oh shit, on the first roll. That's shit roll, isn't it?
Max, min.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh boy.
2,
14.
7, 14. He's still alive as he takes this whomp straight to the stomach from your spiritual weapon, but he is still up. Anything else you'd like to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna also cast Sacred Flame at him.
Sacred Flame at him.
So DC
Good.
16 deck save.
DC 16 deck save. Ha! He rolled a 1.
Aha.
Fuck's sake.
He takes 3d8 damage. 17.
Yeah.
That's better.
Oi.
Yes.
What is it with you,
Nice.
min maxing, Jojo?
And with that, this radiant flame pours down from the sky, burning him finally, killing this.
The old cleric 1-2 punch.
And now we go to Mr. Cerberus. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45,
My dog's there.
50, 55.
Nice
Oh, I'll
doggy.
tell you what. I can't make 60, so I think he will just remain here. I'm very sorry, Thea, but he's going to have to take a couple of attacks at you.
You're a sorcerer.
It'll be fine.
Nice high hit point total there.
So the first one, he rolled a 12. I'm assuming your AC is higher than 12.
No.
Your AC is 12.
Oh. Wait, what? What's happening?
What's your AC?
Is 13.
Yeah. What's happening?
You're
I'm
being
confused.
attacked.
Yeah.
They rolled.
You're being
a
attacked.
Yeah, I said no.
You said yes.
Huh?
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
Ben said is your armor class higher than 12, and you said
12. There's a 12 hit.
12 doesn't hit.
Excellent.
What's going on?
Ben said is your
I'm
armor class higher than 12, and you said no.
Yeah, I am dead.
And a 17.
Yes, that one hits.
Assuming that one hits. And I'll just do the final attack now, because it can only hit you. Oh god, and a 27. Yeah, it's a slight increase in level from where we are in our campaign to where these guys are. Smidgen increase. So, 2 attacks here. So the first one is 11 plus 5, that's 16 piercing damage.
Oh boy.
And 2 fire damage.
Wait, hold on. No, I'm resistant to fire.
Oh, I know, so that's 1 fire damage. Look at that.
Somewhere it says
Big savings.
You take unusually resistant to fire.
I am.
Next up is 4, 6. And that's 11 piercing damage for the second attack, plus 1 fire. So, nothing.
No, it's always minimum 1 damage.
Oh, 1 damage then. There we are.
No offense.
That wasn't so bad. And then it's just going to use its bonus action
Oh, that's good.
to bark.
Woof.
Woof. And anyone within 30 feet of this thing, as you can hear, the different heads sort of bark and howl throughout the room which is Dok, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I think Celine is in 30 feet. Celine. I think that's pretty much all of you. Can all of you make me a wisdom saving throw?
I'm just going to pass, Ben.
You're just going to pass?
So am I.
Yeah. So I rolled I used my 13, and that's plus 5, so that's 18.
Plus 5, 18. Well, that doesn't pass. I'm sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
It does.
Get in the bin.
Could you roll for Chikara, however?
Oh, yeah. I was very wise. She's an elephant.
Not 20. Okay. Not 20.
I roll a lot of natural 20s.
Oh.
18 does pass. Clear. Unfortunately, you are now frightened of this creature.
Frightened.
You have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, while the source of your fear is within sight.
Think of the books.
Nothing else.
And that is the end of the round. And I'm assuming that's why people wanted to call it today, unless people wanted to go to half 10. I'm happy to go to half 10, but...
If people are right to call it there, is that okay?
Yeah. Tis Monday tomorrow. So we'll call it there. Thank you very much for joining. I'm assuming we'll pick this back up next weekend or at some point.
Yeah.
Where we shall see what we shall see.
More dog mauling.
Thank you all very much.
Alright, cheers, Ben.
You're welcome.
Sure.
Sorry it got a little long on the whole Markuul bit, Abby and Chantel. I'm sorry that took.
That was quality, that bit.
Yeah, it was good. Got the send off he deserved.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But yes, back in the thing. Well done on figuring out that riddle. When you started going on about like the moons and stuff, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see the moons when I first looked at the map. I thought, oh shit, this looks cool. And then you started talking about the things, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, they do represent the things. Yeah. Oh god. Yes, I didn't realise that. I was more looking at the times because I'm a simpleton. But well done on that there puzzle. Congratulations, you've completed Jumanji.